You know I love you, so I give you a love hug.
I know you love me. I know you love me.
We've been friends for a long time, brother.
I know.
We really have. It's nice, like, having friends that you've been friends with for just decades. You know?
I always say, I've said this before, but I always say, you're like, I never had a brother growing up. And you've always been pretty honest with me, the way a big brother would be. And you've always come from a place of love. I remember the whole reason I was doing nothing and fucking nothing. I'm sitting in the backstage of the store with you, and you go, Tommy's doing theaters. And I said, okay. And you need to be doing theaters. I was like, okay. And you're like, you need a Netflix special. You need to get one. I was like, all right, Joe, how am I supposed to do that? And you go, be undeniable. And you just walked away. And I fucking was like, that's the kind of mentorship you look for in a friend. That's who you want to be around. Surround yourself with great white sharks. People think you're a great white shark.
Well, you were always really fun and really funny, but you were always doing these Travel Channel shows.
Yeah.
And this is what drove me crazy. I remember the day. We've talked about it before, but I remember the day. I was in the Comedy Store, and I was calling you from the main room, and you were on a motorcycle in Vietnam. And I think you were drunk. And
I was drunk and high. Two things you're not supposed to be on a motorcycle: no helmet, in flip-flops.
Which, by the way, it's a fun way to catch somebody. When you call someone and you're gonna go on stage in like 20 minutes, I'm just checking in on you, see what's going on, and you're on a fucking motorcycle in Vietnam. I'm laughing. But then I was like, dude, you really need to dedicate yourself to stand-up. Like, this is a trap. It's a velvet prison. These TV shows are a velvet prison. And when you're on the Travel Channel, you're not even getting, well, you're making great money, right? But you're not getting, I can retire now money.
No.
There's no fuck you money. It's I can live well money. You know, it's a great job. But it's one of those jobs where at a certain point in time, you got to go, okay, I have to jump ship. Like, you know, I can't keep doing this. Like, this is going to fuck up everything else I'm doing.
It's hard to pull that trigger, too, because like with kids and a family and a house. And,
Yep.
And you go, okay, it's not great money, but it's good money.
Yeah.
And the road was not great money. And I remember you saying, you need a Netflix special. I remember you saying that to me on that motorcycle. I'm sitting, I had headsets in. I was listening to The Doors, Magic Caravan, Spanish Caravan. And I was flying. I was high. There were oxen on either side of me. The sun was setting. And you're like, dude, this is who you are. Fuck that Travel Channel bullshit. Get away from it. You need to focus on stand-up and your podcast.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And you're like, you're the fucking machine. If you don't talk about this on stage, then you're doing yourself a disservice.
Well, there's certain people that, like, you know their full potential because when they're with you, they're completely relaxed. And, you know, everyone's just having a great time, and you get to see them at their best. And when you're crying, laughing, just hanging out, talking to a guy, you're like, this guy's got it. He's just got to figure out how to get rid of all the other shit in his life and focus on that. Because you were always so fucking funny. And I was like, how is this guy doing these shows where he's letting people hurt him and all this? Like, when you were doing Hurt Burt, I was like, what are you doing? Don't get hurt. And then I'd gone through it with Fear Factor. Like, Fear Factor was a great job, don't get me wrong. Very happy that I got it. It was wonderful. It gave me fuck you money. It gave me the ability to do whatever I want after that. Yeah. But it was a thing where I was like, this is not what I want to do. What I want to do is what I always do, just to stand up and have fun. You know, if I was doing the UFC back then too. So it was like, do the UFC, commentary, things I love doing. That's what I want to be doing. I don't want to be doing just a job. Jobs are great, don't get me wrong. Thankful I got it, but at a certain point in time, if you want to reach your full potential, you have to realize, like, this is holding me back. And sometimes people don't want to tell you that because it's a job and it's a great gig. And I've had people tell me, like, don't leave Fear Factor. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I have to leave. I'm like, I have to leave. I gotta go.
I remember those times. I remember people saying, because I knew you as Joe the stand-up, and I remember people saying, he does comedy, and I was like, no, that's what he does. Like, he's not an actor, he's not a host, he's a comedian.
But that's understandable, right? Like, my stand-up, I'd only done, like, by then, I'd only done, like, a couple things that were out, that were available, and I was on the hugest show in television. Fear Factor was fucking gigantic.
It was massive.
Nuts.
It was massive. Monday nights?
Yeah, it was a fun job.
You know it's a big show when 20 years later you remember the night it was on.
But this is what's important. Even though it was the #1 show in the country, I still have that feeling. Like, I don't want to really be doing this. Yeah. I'm happy to do it. I'm very thankful that I got the job. I worked with some amazing people. It was a lot of fun. We had a great crew. really fun time. But I didn't want to do it. I wanted to do this. This is what I didn't know I wanted to do this because this wasn't a thing, but once I figured it out, I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. I want to do this in stand-up. And the UFC, which is like, to me, it's not even a job. It's like a vacation.
It's crazy watching you operate in the UFC and seeing that mechanism, and to think when you started that, like how far that path with the UFC has been for you.
Oh, for me, it was 97.
I know, but walking in through the other day, and I was like, oh, this has been Joe's life for fucking 26 years.
Well, if you're a person who's a martial artist and you're a fan of martial arts, if you get a job to do that, like if you get a job to talk about martial arts and to express your love for it and your appreciation for the athletes, appreciation for the fighters and what they have to go through to get to where they're at, and the magnitude of their accomplishments, and to put words to that, like to be able to do that for a living, that's an honor. That's how I feel.
Oh, yeah.
It's like it's an honor. It's an honor, and I feel like I do a good job at it, and I like doing it, and I'm super passionate about it, and I don't do it because it's a job. I do it because I love it. Like, I don't need to do it. I could have quit a long time ago. I could just watch it. Like, we're doing a fight companion this weekend. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
We're gonna hang out. What are you doing Saturday?
I don't know. Oh, I'm in Vegas.
Are you really?
I have 2 shows in Vegas this weekend
nice.
at Resorts World Theater.
Nice.
Oh, I should say, my special, Lucky, is streaming right now on Netflix.
Right now.
Right now. I say
Go
lucky.
get.
I say lucky because I am the luckiest fucking guy in the world. I really am. When you think about like finding the friends I did later in life, like at like 37 or 38 when I started meeting all you guys and hanging out with you guys, and then getting into comedy at the time I did. Like we got into comedy when it wasn't a job. It was like It was weird. It was like joining the fucking circus.
It was.
And I only got into comedy because I got discovered by Rolling Stone magazine as the #1 party animal in the country. I mean, what are the fucking odds of my life tracking out? So that's why I named it Lucky.
Well, we're all very lucky. That's absolutely sure. No dispute. We're all very lucky. If you're listening to this, you're very lucky because you can fucking hear. How about that?
Yeah.
If you're watching it, you're very lucky that you can see. You're very lucky that you can afford a phone. We're very lucky. Like, most of the world lives in utter poverty. And that's the unfortunate reality of all these people virtue signaling about the 1%. Like, bitch, you're in the 1%.
There's
You're in the
someone
1%
digging
of the
blood
world.
diamonds in Sierra Leone right now, smoking brown, and he's 11. Okay.
If you make $34,000 in America, you're in the 1% of the world. How about that?
Wow.
Yep, that's real.
My father-in-law still isn't in that 1%.
Hey, life's not good for everybody.
Life's not good for everybody.
Some people don't get lucky at all. I've been trying to wrap my mind around the idea of quantum computing. It's exciting, but complex and difficult to understand. What I do know is that quantum computers can process exponentially more data than the ones you and I use every day. Quantum computers also put a new strain on the world of digital privacy and cybersecurity. They may one day crack encryption algorithms that we currently consider secure. That's why ExpressVPN upgraded their encryption to use MLKEM, the strongest available protection from post-quantum threats. With ExpressVPN, all your online activity is rerouted through secure, encrypted servers. Even though all your data is still being handled by your internet provider or whoever the provider is for the random public Wi-Fi network you're on, none of these third parties will be able to read your data or hijack your connection for malicious intent. And with post-quantum protection, ExpressVPN is essentially future-proofing your privacy. Just one of many reasons why ExpressVPN is the absolute best VPN out there. So if you want to get the highest standards of post-quantum protection from your VPN service, tap the banner or go to expressvpn.com/Rogan. And now listeners can get 4 extra months for free. That's expressvpn.com/Rogan. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can get your 4 free months by scanning the QR code on screen or by clicking the link in the description.
I always think luck is a perspective.
You work hard, dude. You're not just lucky. You work hard. You work real hard. You're always touring. You're always doing things. You're always putting together new shit. You're always working. You're always hustling. Like, it's not just luck. It's luck plus, you love to party, but you also have a great work ethic. And that's very, very important, man. It's like you can't just be lucky. Lucky's huge. You got to get lucky. But also, if you work really hard, you tend to get luckier, especially if you're smart and if you're willing to take risks. Like for you, the Travel Channel thing, that was a risk. Like you had to listen to your friends and you had to go, you know what, they're fucking right. Everybody else is cooking right now, and my stand-up's kind of stalled out because I'm doing this TV show. And again, it's coming from someone who was there. And I'm telling you that if you're making millions and you still feel that way, versus if you're making thousands and you still feel that way, you gotta trust me. There's another way to get through this. And the other way we found. We got, we were right.
Yeah.
Look, we fucking saw light at the end of the tunnel. We were like, this is the way to go. And we were right.
I remember you telling all of us, you guys need a podcast. And I remember saying to Tom, he's out of his mind. Why don't we just do his?
No, everybody thought I was out of my mind for even doing mine. Like, people mocked me openly. Like, Howard Stern famously mocked all people that were doing podcasts. You're wasting your time. But in his mind, that was correct, because he didn't have this. He wasn't an internet kid. I'm not an internet kid, but I used to build my own computers in the 90s. I used to go to Fry's Electronics and get motherboards and hard drives, and my friend Andrew used to help me over the phone. I'd call him. He's a wizard tech guy. And so, I had bought all these high-end gaming computers and upgraded the video cards, and I was on all these crazy websites. We'd send each other that was the 2 girls 1 cup days. So I was pretty plugged in.
What was the guy, Mr. Smiles or something?
Mr. Hands.
Mr. Hands. Okay, keep going.
So there was works on cars. If that's gone, and now all of a sudden they just have a check, who are they?
What do dudes do when they have nothing to do?
Well, it depends on the dude. Some people learn new things. Some people get excited, and some people. There's going to be people that take advantage of it in a very positive way. If there's there's a real living wage that you get from the government, where you really don't have to worry about your housing anymore. You don't have to worry about your food. I think that would be, if you were an ambitious person, that would be amazing. So then you could dedicate yourself entirely to what you love, whatever that thing is, and just really dive into that and let that become your focus in life. And we're accustomed to believing that survival itself is the primary driving force. Food and shelter is the primary driving force for this intelligent species of human beings. But part of me says, why? Why is that? Why does that have to be your driving force? If we have unlimited resources, which assumingly we will with AI, if it's implemented correctly, we have unlimited resources in terms of your ability to never worry about being hungry, never worry about shelter. You would hope that what people would do then is pursue their dreams. But some people don't have fucking dreams. Some people, they've gone too far down this journey of life with a rigid mindset and a very limited perspective. And now they're forced to change. And many will change, but many will not. And that's where it gets weird. Because then you have a whole entire class of society, an enormous swath of human beings that are addicted to TikTok, that now get checks, have no hobbies or interests, live off garbage food, and they're lost.
Yeah.
And they're being told, probably they're being manipulated, that someone's responsible for this. That these people need to be taken down and shut down. We need to return to our old way of life. You give them enormous potential for unrest.
Well, I think that, in dialogue that I've had over the past 10 years or so with people who are AI optimists, there's this jump to the utopian future, right? Where everything, land of abundance, no more resource scarcity, everything is beautiful. People have the ability to study art and poetry and opera and right? They don't need to work anymore. They don't need to be grinding anymore. They can think about philosophy, et cetera, et cetera. That's the argument. Let's just assume that would be a positive end. I'm not so sure. I think that we have some other energies flowing through us that we won't want to express. But let's just say that would be great. The problem is getting there, right? So in chess, there's this interesting dynamic between strategy and tactics all the time. right? We need to liberate ourselves from to be strategic and to think ahead, like think about what would be the ideal place to go. But then we also have to get the tactics right, the math right to get there. We can't just hang our queen or hang our bishop or hang our rook on the path to our strategic dream, right? We need to integrate execution with strategic dreaming. Because often if we're thinking too much tactically, we can't see the long-term plan we want to utilize, right? Like the end result we want to move toward. And so when I think about this path of AI, I think there's going to be so much disruption along the way to that place of resource abundance and utopia. Even if that was a positive place, I think it's going to be a really messy path to get there.
Yeah.
But for us to navigate the path, the question to me now is, what should we be doing as individuals, as a species, in order to allow us to navigate that path?
Well, I think people certainly, if universal income becomes ubiquitous, we're certainly going to need some sort of guidance. We're certainly going to need something that guides people towards a feeling of relevancy, towards a feeling of purpose. Like you got to give people something.
Training is a beautiful
Yes,
like,
any kind of training, anything where you're learning something. But again, it comes to this comfort thing. You and I have very similar paths in life in that we've sought things that many people find uncomfortable and difficult. And I think there's great value in uncomfortable and difficult things and in the beginner's mindset and the learner's mindset, because you learn more about everything by learning about something. And I've lived my life like that, and so have you. And there's many people out there that resonate with these ideas, and they also live their life like that, and they get excited. But there's many people that don't. And those are the people that I really worry about. The people that just want a good job, where there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting a good job and being able to take care of your family and having a place where you enjoy working and being able to go there every day. And when that's taken away from people and they have to kind of restructure the entire way they interface with reality, and then there's this bizarre connection with the government now, where the government is now your provider. It's not just for the people, by the people. It's not, representative of the people. It's now your provider, which is a very strange relationship to have. And, we see it in welfare states, and, which I think social safety nets are very important. I think if we're going to be a compassionate society, we need to be able to take care of people that aren't doing well, because a lot of life is about fortune, and sometimes people run into horribly unfortunate situations, and there's massive potential in those people. And those people can realize that potential if they're helped. And I think that's real too. But I do think there's a certain psychological aspect to having the state take care of all your food and money and resources and housing, that all of a sudden, who are you? And what do you do to give yourself meaning if you're not the type of person that seeks out difficult things, and you're 45 or 47 years old, or whatever you are, and this is happening to you, and you feel lost? Like, there's going to be a lot of people like that. And throughout history, terrible times have been very cruel to people who weren't prepared.
yeah.
And, I worry about it almost like an intellectual famine. Like a psychological famine, that people will be deprived of the thing that they have rested their hat upon, like their identity, who they are, what it means, their sense of purpose, that it'll be pulled away from them. That scares the shit out of me, especially when I know how many people get addicted to drugs and how many people get addicted to all sorts of weird lifestyle choices to provide them with some dopamine or some rush or just something that makes them feel like they're alive.
There's something so powerful about being grounded and a path to being grounded is being immersed in an art, like for example, like jiu-jitsu or chess, where if you're on the jiu-jitsu mats and you overextend your arm and you get armbarred, like you're not going to say that's not my fault, that was his fault, or like that's
Right.
Then you just don't fucking get better and you get armbarred again.
Right.
But you only get better by taking your shit off.
Right.
Right? Or if you're a chess player and you make a mistake and you lose, if the people who say that's not my fault, they're irrelevant very, very quickly. They just get blazed by. And they're just like, everyone else's race is past and they're not in the race anymore. And if you think about a community, for example, of fighters, let's think about jiu-jitsu as like a vision. like one of the things that separates people as they get deeper into an art is whether they want to take themselves on as a way of life, whether they're hungry to have their weaknesses revealed, right? You think about a school where, like somebody, like I always found it interesting to watch people when they're 4 or 5 rounds into sparring. Like, do they look for the blue belt to rest with, or do they look for the like 240-pound fucking bruiser to beat the shit out of them, or the high-level brown belt to exploit them, or the black belt to like kick their ass, right? Who do they look for? Who does like the up-and-coming purple belt look for when, like, the young competitor? Is he looking for the egoic rest or the place to be exposed? Like people who hunger for exposure to get better, right? It's like seeking accountability as a way of life. I think there's something really powerful to do that with decision making, right? Because we're making decisions, and we're making decisions in a higher and higher stakes world. And if we train at the art of decision making in something that's grounded in reality, like for example, the chess rating system is just a fucking thing. It's objective. There's no bullshit to it. But I hear people, like I know people who play chess online, and then they're like, yeah, this is my rating, but I'm actually much stronger than that because of this and this. It's like, no, you're not. You just haven't taken your shit on, right? Like you're not stronger than your rating. Your rating is how strong you are as a chess player.
Yeah.
Right? But there's something so beautiful about an accurate feedback loop, right? And that can be with a coach. Training with you could be on the getting tapped out, getting your ass kicked, right? Getting hit, losing, whatever it is. I think that there's something so powerful about people cultivating some way of life where they're grounded in some kind of feedback loop in their training life, that there's no bullshit involved, that they learn to accept accountability as a way of life. They seek feedback loops.
Right.
I think that we can do this in decision making. I mean, my view is that we're going to be making decisions as a species in an increasingly complex world where there is a superintelligence. So we need to track our decisions, and we need to see objectively when they are good and when they're bad. Like just how you can studying tape as a basketball team or as a jiu-jitsu fighter or whatever. Like we need to create game tape in our decision making. Right? We have to stop deluding ourselves about the fact that we're actually better than everything shows we are.
Right. People love to think that way.
Fucking love it.
It gives them a nice little out in their accomplishments. It gives them a nice little excuse for why things haven't gone their way.
Like if you make a decision, write down what the decision is and write down why you made the decision. And then look back on it in a week or 2 or 3 and create like a spreadsheet, a log, or whatever the fuck you want to use of all of your decisions and why you made them, and look back on them. And then if the reasons for making the decision no longer are valid, but you're holding to the decision, which is what everyone does, then don't do that. Don't do that. Let go of it. Reevaluate.
So when you work with people, and I know a big part of what you do is help organizations learn, and how do you instill these ideas in people? Do you have a structure that you follow when you go to work with people? Do you try to see what they do?
Yeah, I try to see what they. So I've been training for the last 15, 16 years. Elite mental and physical athletes, right? Decision makers, investors, athletes, fighters.
You work with fighters?
NBA teams. Well, in my school with Marcelo, we had a huge, jiu-jitsu fighter. And so I've been in dialogue with people who are the pinnacles of different fields my whole life. And one thing is that I love working with people who want to take themselves on. So it begins with them being all on the process. I'm not great at motivating people to take their shit on.
No.
I love to begin once we're taking their shit on. So that, and then it's individualized. I get to know someone's patterns. It's 99% listening, observing. A lot of what I try to do is understand the entanglement of their brilliance and their eccentricity, or their genius and their dysfunction. I think so quickly people try to come in. If you come in with some kind of formula for how things will be done, you're going to be slicing away the brilliance of individuals, right? Like all of our most brilliant creations are interwoven with the dysfunctional parts of our mind. Everyone wants to normalize people. Like most, in the realm of trainers or coaches of different fields, I think it's mostly bullshit. There's mostly armchair professors who don't understand what it actually means to be playing on that razor's edge of peak performance, where you have to make a decision which is taking a risk that's right on the edge of something catastrophic, but that's the thread the needle solution. And so when I start working with someone, I try to get to know them very, very deeply. Their patterns of success, their patterns of failure, where their genius and their dysfunction are entangled, I often go into what I call a cave process, which is trying to understand what their self-expression is, like going into the cave with them, metaphorically, try to understand what their self-expression would be liberated from reactivity and inertia. So not reacting away from what they did before, and not being subject to the inertia of what they did before, but just blue skying what the ideal solution would be, what the most pure self-expression for them would be.
So it's completely dependent upon the individual and their approach initially.
Yeah, and not their approach, the individual and the patterns of their approach, right? Not that we would do things the way they did before, but I have a lot of humility. Like, I don't think that I know the way. I don't think there is a way. I think we all have our own way we need to discover. The coaches who have been most damaging to me, for example, when I was in that same period when I was 15, 16 years old, I had a coach who was part of the Russian school of chess, who essentially had me move away from my self-expression, move away from my style. My style of chess play at that point, my whole life, had been creative, attacking, improvisational. I love to create chaos and find the harmonies in chaos. I love to battle. He urged me to stop playing that way, stop studying that style, play like these cold-blooded prophylactic chess players like Trojan or Karpov. I played much more in the style, not the strength, the style of like Garry Kasparov or Mikhail Tal or Bobby Fischer, like players who were aggressive, right? Who had a lot of like red blood flowing through their body. Like I was hot-blooded, and he urged me to play in the opposite style from what was natural to me. Think, what would Karpov do here? Not what would Josh do here.
Is there a benefit to that, just to expand your repertoire?
Yes, there is absolutely a benefit to that. But there's also the movement of a young competitor away from their self-expression, their love for the game, love from their passion, right? I think there's this brilliant man named Yuri Razavayev who was on the other pillar of the Russian school of chess, who said this amazing thing to me. He said to me, Josh, you can learn Karpov through Kasparov. And I didn't understand what he meant for many, many years after that. And it was a little too late in my chess life to take that in. But what he was saying is that you can learn the great defensive chess by studying the defense of the great attackers.
Why was it late in your career to take that in?
Well, good question. It's just when he said it to me, it was like I was in my early 20s and I lost my love for chess. Like it had gotten static, stale. Like good challenge. It probably wasn't late, but I couldn't hear it. I didn't, like I would have had to go into the cave, go away, go through an existential crisis and come back to chess. But there were a lot of things that were moving me away from chess at that point in addition to that. I didn't want to be trapped inside of the confines of 64 squares anymore. I felt like a lion in a cage. So it was like, if I had known him when I was 14, 15, he'd have.
Okay. Jamie, go to the cast.
God, Ben Foster's so fucking good.
That guy's so good. You know what that guy was in that's super underrated, one of his performances, because it's such a wacky movie? 30 Days of Night. Did you ever see 30 Days of Night?
No, what's 30 Days of Night?
30 Days of Night is the second best vampire movie of all time.
Really?
First best vampire movie of all time is the most recent Nosferatu. That's the best vampire movie of all time.
The one that just came out?
The one that just came out.
Okay, Nosferatu, okay.
The best vampire movie of all time.
Is it streaming yet?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's on Apple. But this was 30 Days of Night was a movie where Ben Foster played like a vampire familiar. And these vampires would they went to Alaska in the middle of the winter where it's dark for 30 days so they could be out for 30 days. And they're fucking terrifying vampires. They're really fun. It's a really good, and Ben Foster plays the vampire familiar. So the familiar is like, that's him in there.
What's a familiar?
A familiar is a human that the vampires use to get close to humans, and they promise the human that one day he'll have eternal life and he'll be one of them. So the vampire goes and sets up people for the vampire familiar sets people up to be killed by the vampires.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah.
I gotta watch this. Dude, he was great in the what was the movie where they kidnapped the kid? Justin Timberlake was in it. Raw Dog, not Raw Dog.
No, Ben Foster's a beast.
But he's awesome.
He's a beast.
311 to Zuma or whatever.
I didn't see that one.
Yuma. Oh my God, he is.
What is it, Ken?
310 to Yuma.
I didn't see that.
he was great in the Justin Timberlake movie. It was called like Top Dog or something, Alpha Dog. And he was just awesome. And he had a very small role. He played the guy's older brother, and it was just like he just owns the screen.
Yeah, he's a beast. There's certain people that like when they act, you just go, God damn. Like,
I am
so
not one
good.
of them.
So good. So good. So it makes a movie so much better. It makes it so you can just get dragged into it.
I think Jonah Ray is probably the best comic actor out there.
What has he been in?
Jonah Ray, everything. When he was in War Dogs and he goes to buy drugs from the black guys.
Oh, I didn't see that either.
And he goes,
there's too much to see, Bert Kreischer.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, I'm just starting now to just download stuff and get off Instagram. And if I'm going to bed, just turn on a documentary and start watching it.
By just starting now to get off Instagram?
I'm trying. Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill, you mean?
Yeah, what did I say?
Jonah Ray.
Jesus Christ.
Okay, that's why you confused me.
Sorry, Jonah Ray.
No,
also.
Jonah Hill's awesome.
Jonah Hill's fucking amazing.
He's great.
Jonah Hill is amazing. He was in War Dogs. He goes up and buys weed from the black guys, and he's like, "How much?" The guy's $120. He gives him $120, and then he just started to keep talking to himself, and he's like, Jonah's like, "Hey," he's got a voice. "What are we doing here?" "Hi guys," and they're like, "Get the fuck out." And he's like, "Oh, okay," and he goes to the back of his trunk and pulls out a machine gun and goes, "Grrr." He goes, "Can you listen to me now?" He's just awesome, dude.
Wow.
Awesome, man. I fucking love that guy. But yeah,
There's too many movies to be paying attention to these days. When I was a kid, if you said you didn't know, you never saw Apocalypse Now? What the fuck? You know, it's like once VHS tapes came out, you're supposed to have seen the big ones.
Yeah.
You didn't see The Godfather? You didn't see Star Wars?
Yeah.
Are you out of your fucking mind? But today, it's like they never stop making movies.
No.
They've never stopped. They make new ones every year. You can't keep up. There's no way.
And all the ones that were up for Oscars, I saw none of those.
Yeah, well, they all involve chaos.
But it's like,
They all involve the end of civilization. If you want to win an Oscar, you have to be trans lives matter all the way. Like, what do you do to win an Oscar today? Like, you have to have something that's got some meaning to it other than just being a good movie, right? Like,
Yeah.
there's got to be some social justice aspect to it. Wasn't there like something where they were talking about? God damn it! I can't remember what the article was about. But it was about requirements for a film to win an Oscar today, what they believe to be requirements. So I don't like award. Do you know what it is? There was something that it was just. That's it. That's it.
that's not the only way to tell a story.
That's not, because if you do that, you don't get Shogun. Okay.
Yeah, oh.
You don't get Shogun. You gotta have an all Japanese cast. You want to get Shogun. You know, you can't have a fully diverse, 50-50 split of whatever, everybody. You can't.
No.
You have to tell a specific kind of a movie. You know, if you're gonna make a movie about the Congo, you can't have white people play with native Congolese people. You can't have that. So it's like some stories are not diverse. It doesn't make them less valid. It doesn't mean you're racist. It just means that some stories take place in Norway and they involve Vikings. Okay, this is like just a part of human history. You know, some stories take place in Egypt and they involve Africans. Okay, it's like there's plenty of room for every kind of fucking story. But if you only want like a specific type of story to win an Academy Award, you don't get The Godfather. Daylight savings is coming, so we're about to lose an hour, and that means trying to speed up your morning. But if you drink AG1, maybe you're fine with it. It's that quick and easy to help your body feel great every day. Starting your day with AG1 can help you shake off the grogginess, get back into your rhythm, and even give you the boost you need to make the most of that extra hour of sunlight. Maybe even turning you into the morning person you've always wanted to be. AG1 rules. I drank it for a long time now, and seriously, it's as easy as I say. Every month, you just take one scoop, put it in some cold water, shake it up, and you're ready to go. Honestly, it tastes pretty good too. I'm not complaining. It's never too late to create a new healthy habit for 2025. So try AG1 for yourself. It's easy to stay consistent with, and that's why I've been partnering with AG1 for so long. And AG1 is offering new customers a free gift when you subscribe. You'll get a welcome kit, a bottle of D3K2, and 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure you check out drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. That's drinkag1.com/Joe Rogan. You don't get that
You
movie.
don't get Jaws.
You got to get all Italians
Star
if you want
Wars.
The Godfather.
Think about who were the Oscar winners when we were kids.
Yeah.
Were all fucking banger movies that everyone saw.
Right.
That everyone saw. Best Picture won Best Picture because it
Right.
was Best Picture, not because it was a Best Picture about a trans social worker that got abducted and
Yeah,
sent
exactly. Yeah, they got distorted. They get distorted with what the job is. The job is just to purely entertain people and with a great piece of work. That's all it is. That's the whole job. And that could be Pulp Fiction. You know, there's no message in Pulp Fiction.
There's
It's like, it's fucking chaos, and it's amazing.
The message we took away was that white guys could say the N-word.
I guess.
We were like, all
Quentin
right.
Tarantino, as long as you have a gun in your hand, you should do it. But the whole movie is just madness. But it's amazing. You can't deny how great it is. Like, that's supposed to be what the best movie is. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be. I don't even know if that won Best Film. Did it win Best Film? Did Pulp Fiction win Best Picture?
He won Best Director.
It should have won Best Picture.
Him and Roger Avery together were
Who the fuck
fucking
won Best Picture?
gangsters.
Oh, that's right. We actually talked about that on the
I think it was
podcast.
actually Unforgiven. I'll need to make sure.
Unforgiven was a fucking great movie.
Fucking great movie.
God.
That was Clint Eastwood going back and cleaning up all his old westerns. That's what that movie was. It was like, let me show you what it's probably really like. What it's really like. Not this, you know, fucking everybody's looking at you sideways. No, the reality was that character that he played, that old assassin.
What year do you think movies stopped being great movies and started being, like, what year did we switch?
I think people are still making great movies.
But they're not winning Oscars.
Well, I think who cares? I really do. I think once Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, the Oscars to me were like, what? You know, I'm done. I'm done. Like, you guys, and then they all applauded him and gave him a standing ovation afterwards when he won an Oscar. Like, I'm done.
Forrest fucking
Forrest Gump. Forrest Gump was a
Look
banger.
at hang on. I saw every
Shawshank
movie on there.
Redemption?
I
Oh
saw
my God.
every movie on there.
Quiz Show.
Quiz Show was great.
I never saw Four Weddings and a Funeral. I heard it was great, though.
Dude, it made you want to date a fucking British chick. I made you want to have a rich friend, live in a castle, get drunk, watch a friend die, and fucking
Okay.
look at all
But that
of
makes
these.
sense that was best film. Well, what an amazing year. Shawshank, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show was fucking great.
Yeah.
By the way, that was a real thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really fucking rigged a quiz show. That's why there's all sorts of rules if you're running a game show, because I was on a game show, Fear Factor. It was my best way to get people away from me. If they ask me, how do I get on Fear Factor? I go, if you want to get on, you can't even talk to me. Because if you talk to me, then I'll have previously known you, then it can be seen that I helped you get on the show. So I can't talk to you. It was great.
It's a great workaround.
And it was true.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So
Can't be your
did
friend.
they have someone like really judging the like horse sperm? Going like, we gotta,
Judging it?
like an official officiating it because it was prize money? Meaning like the quiz show was all about them breaking the rules.
Right.
And you had to have someone, a standards and practice guy on your team, making sure the game was fair for everyone, correct?
Yeah, I think there was something like that. I guess the network just did that. I think we kind of ran the idea, or they ran the ideas by the network, and the network decided, you know, whether or not this was fair or what have you. But everything was always fair. Like, that show was, you know, nobody got knowledge of the stunt before they got there. We blindfolded everybody. They were traveling around in vans. They would be blindfolded. Sometimes they covered their ears so they couldn't even hear. And then they would take their blindfolds off, and then right there and then they would find out what they had to do. So right there and then they find out they gotta get covered in snakes or something like that. And we knew that someone had a fear of snakes. Because you fill out a form. And, you know, if you got a fear of snakes, guess what? You might wind up on the snake episode. You know, it was a fucking crazy show. But, you know, it was all fair. But that quiz show, they figured it out like the mob figured out the fucking lottery. You know, Whitey Bulger won the lottery twice.
Did he really?
Yeah. You know how bold you have to be a gangster in South Boston and not just win the lottery once, but win the lottery twice. Like, see if you can find that.
How do you rig the numbers that big? That's
I
crazy.
get away with it. You can kind of get away with stuff before the internet. before the internet, you could get away with things like that, where
Yeah.
you could kind of rig the lottery a couple of times, and everybody's like, "Whitey won again? What the fuck?"
Oh, that's great.
When I was a kid and I was living in Boston, I used to teach one of his hitmen. I taught one of his hitmen Taekwondo.
Wow. Well, what's it like teaching a hitman?
It was weird.
Are they good students?
Yeah, he was very, very disciplined. Yeah, he was like he was a known guy in the South Boston Irish mob. And he wanted to learn how to fight. Lottery winner had been one of Bulger's brilliant schemes to launder his drug extortion loan sharking money back in the summer, which makes sense, right? What better way to, why do you have a Cadillac? Oh, I won the fucking lottery.
Yeah.
Oh, we're clear. So you could have all your shit. So, millions lottery ticket had been purchased at the South Boston Liquor Mart by Michael Linsky, who was the brother of a Bulger underling named Patrick Linsky. The FBI learned that once Whitey heard about the jackpot, he ordered the real winner to sign the ticket over, with Whitey and two associates paying $2.3 million in cash for 50% of the winnings. Bulger himself paid Linsky $700,000, although Linsky lost money in the deal. He really had no choice. He came down to selling the ticket or risking his life. Kevin Weeks, whose name also appeared in the winning lottery, the winning ticket, later claimed that Linsky purchased a large batch of tickets to hand out as Christmas gifts and promised to split any winnings with Bulger and Weeks, but Weeks' story makes little sense. The so-called Christmas gifts were purchased during the dog days of summer. So they did it. The scam set up a 20-year legitimate income stream for Whitey, where he earned $119,000 each year. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so that's what he did. He found out that somebody won it. He's totally tuned into the neighborhood. Find that guy, fuck him over, take his ticket. Look, I won the lottery.
And you have no choice. It's
You
just
have
like,
no choice.
It's like when the guy hit Gotti's grandson with the car.
Right.
And
Yeah, you're
he's like,
dead.
Yeah, you got to die now.
Yeah, if you lived in that time, like in the 1980s when I used to teach this guy Taekwondo, like you would always hear about hits. I knew a guy who got arrested. I don't know if he did it. He was a guy that I was friends with. His name was Richie. I was friends with him before he went to jail. And then I was kind of friends with him when he got out of jail, before I realized that he was like very dangerous now. He was a completely different person. So he went away to jail. He was a little older than me. I was 18, so he was probably 20 or 21. He went to jail on some kind of gun charge or drug charge. So he comes out of jail a few years later, and he's an animal. I mean, an animal. He's way bigger. He's put on like 30 pounds of muscle, and he's seen way too much. He was telling me stories about fights that he used to get into in jail, where he beat some guy half to death with a broom handle, and that you're fighting for your life in there. It's like every day you're fighting for, and he knew how to fight. He was, I trained with him. That's where I knew him. I knew him from Taekwondo. And he was just telling me about fights that he'd get in jail. He's like, you have to fight. There's nothing you could do. It's constant. You're constantly on edge. I'm like, fuck, man. And so I'd known this guy before jail, then I'd known him after jail. And he was just way more dangerous after jail. He was doing a lot of coke. He would train, and when you would train with him, it was a fight. I mean, it was a fight. It wasn't, you were fighting for your life, I broke his whole face once. I hit him with a wheel kick in there because we were fighting, man. I mean, we were fighting. And there was no one there, by the way. It was my gym, so it was just me and him, like literally fighting. He would just attack you. Like, it wasn't like a technical sparring thing. And back then, I felt like I was a pussy if I didn't spar with anybody who wanted to spar. Like, you want to spar? Okay, let's spar. So you sparred with everybody, and some people you sparred with. Some people, you would like, let's just not hurt each other.
Yeah.
And then other people, you knew you were fighting. You were
Jesus.
Guys get knocked out all the time. I saw dozens of guys get knocked out of the gym all the time. I did a lot of it. It was scary. It was scary. You would be super nervous before class. You'd be super nervous.
You'd have that, and you're doing class every day. That's happening every day?
All the time.
I would be,
all
I
the time.
have anxiety. I have anxiety getting on planes.
You're sparring 3 or 4 days a week. Yeah, you're sparring 3 or 4 days a week. If you're smart, you have to stay sharp.
So you broke this guy's face?
Broke his face, and he wanted to keep training. He was still coming after me. I was like, dude, you got to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror. and his whole face shifted. Like it shifted. I hit him with a wheel kick in the cheek. He went out, his eyes rolled back in his head, he collapses down to his butt, and then he tried to get back up slowly. He gets back up, and he's like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And then like 30 seconds later, he wants to keep sparring, and I'm like, you gotta stop. But he was just a monster, like a savage person. He was a kid when I knew him, like a normal kid, like, what's up, Richie? And then 3 or 4 years later, whatever it was when he got out, he was a monster.
Was there any hint of the old Richie where you could go, hey man, what's going on?
No.
He was just gone.
No, he was gone. I didn't know the old Richie that well. Now, I'm thinking timeline. So this was pre me doing stand-up. So I probably met him first when I was like 16, and then I met him again when I was 21. It was somewhere around that 20, 21, because that's when I stopped fighting. And it was like right around the same time where I knew Richie, where I stopped fighting. So he got arrested. There was a guy who was murdered, and they broke every bone in his body with a hammer, and they kept injecting him with cocaine to keep him alive. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. They identified the body. I forget how they identified the body, but I'm pretty sure they chopped his hands and his head off. And they found this guy, and he got arrested for that. And he got away. He got off. I don't think they charged him. I don't think he actually did it, but he definitely knew people who did it. He was involved with the same kind of people. And this is like one of the guys that I worked out with. But he wasn't the hitman. The hitman was way more stoic.
Really? Older?
Yeah, he was older. He was in his 30s. And the hitman was...
Would he come in with like hitman problems? Like, all right, say I'm at a restaurant.
He asked me once how would I kill a guy.
Really?
He said, if you're going to hit a guy and you're going to kill him, where would you hit him? And I said, probably the neck. And he said, yeah, I think so. And that was the conversation. That was the end of the conversation. I don't even know why I picked the neck, because the neck actually can take a pretty good beating. That's pretty tough.
Not mine.
Your head is way weaker than your neck. This is really weak. Like this little spot right here, your temple. There's a little tiny, thin little layer of bone there that protects your brain. It's not big at all.
When was the last time you got punched?
Oh, it's been a long time. I haven't sparred at all since like 2007 or 8. Like sparring.
Yeah.
Kickboxing sparring. Yeah. It's too. Even little sparring wears on you. You carry that for your whole life. Just thuds, little thuds, even ones that aren't that hard. Just a jab, just thud. You carry those. Like those are real. That's brain damage. Those little times they get dinged in the gym, that's real. That's brain damage. That's brain damage. And like I told you, like when I was a kid, we did a lot of brain damage. Sparring
just
was
me.
horrible.
I've had I think 8 concussions, and I'm just a kid. I didn't even spar. I'm just talking like basketball camp one time, football. I play in football for the hurt bird shit. I got knocked unconscious. Like I've probably had 8 concussions. I'm guessing, you know.
But I've had a lot. My last one was just a couple of years ago. Skiing. Last time skiing.
I just talked to you the other day when you were skiing, and I thought you didn't ski because of your knees.
Well, my knee I did fracture one of the bones in the top of my tibia. No, which one's tibia, and then the fibula's the little one, right?
Fibulas in the
I cracked.
Shin, right?
I cracked the tibia, which that healed, but the real problem was the head. My head, I fell on my head. My skis went up in the air, and I hit the ground head first. Yeah, and it was a
helmet.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
but it was a bang. Like I got rocked, and I was like, oh shit! Like that was a big one. And then the rest of the day, I was like dizzy. My balance was all bad. It was not good. It was not good. And then I was like, I'm done with the skiing thing, because I always worried about my knees. Because I still love doing martial arts, and if I'm not doing it, I don't feel good. Like I like to hit the bag. I like to have my joints work perfectly. I like to have my skills still there. I like to do it. It's fun to do. So anything that takes that away from me, like skiing just for a thrill, like.
Oh, and once you get hurt, once you break, we did a concrete sled competition in Calgary or in Edmonton.
Concrete sled?
Concrete sled. It's an engineering team, and they have to figure out a way to build a concrete sled that makes it down a mountain with all the team members on it and stops within the right area. And dude, people get fucked up. I mean, fucked up. And
Concrete sled must be so heavy.
you can find a picture of it. Type in University of Edmonton concrete sled. I think that's what it's called. And right before.
This is how people keep themselves occupied when they're so fucking bored because it's 38 degrees below zero outside.
Yeah, yeah. And dude, that's the coldest I've ever been. My fingers.
Bro,
yeah,
Edmonton
see those
is
concrete
rough.
sleds? There's one there where the guys get fucked up so bad.
I don't want to see it. It's so stupid.
But the team that went right before me, they flipped, ragdolled, yard sailed everywhere.
If these people tried bow hunting, they would quit this. They'd quit all this. They wouldn't be doing any of this. This is ridiculous. You could fucking die.
Oh, a guy before me broke his femur.
Ow!
And I remember the kid, little stoner with the walkie that tells us, all right, you guys are next. He goes, huh, what's that? Broken femur. And he looks at me and goes, broken femur's a game changer. And I was like, I gotta go next. Like, what the fuck? Like, that was terrifying. But yeah, I think about that sometimes. Just having my elbow surgery, I gained so much weight from just having one arm because I couldn't do it. I couldn't get on the treadmill. I couldn't do anything. That I go, any injury is like, I don't want any injury.
Yeah, injuries are not good. And this is coming from a person who's had a bunch of surgeries. I've had 3 knee surgeries, had my nose operated on. Oh, let me tell you, my game changer, mouth tape.
You were talking about this.
Game changer. Game changer. I know people say this, and I know it's like one of those fucking fitness influencer things where people are selling something. I got no skin in the game, okay? I'm not selling nothing. I don't have anything for sale. I use a company called Hostage Tape. I'm sure there's other ones that are great, but Hostage Tape makes me laugh. You take this tape and you put it over your mouth when you sleep. Now, I have sleep apnea, so I wear a mouthpiece. And my mouthpiece has a tongue depressor. So the mouthpiece is fitted to my lower jaw, and the tongue depressor keeps my tongue from falling back on my throat. So I don't block my airway because I have a big tongue. Yeah. And I have a fat neck. So it's like the air hole gets clogged up by the tongue. So the tongue depressor works, and then I put the tape over my mouth, so I'm not using my mouth at all. Thank God I got my nose fixed in like 15 years ago or something like that. Best decision I ever made in my life. Best decision I've ever made.
Really?
One of the best.
Is that the one where you had to like pull shit out of your nose?
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I was on the road with Tommy, and I would show him the boogers, and he would like almost vomit because the boogers were insane. So once you get your nose operated on, like I had probably 12 nose breaks, maybe more, by the time I got my nose operated on. So the inside of it was all calcified, like all the inside, just like cauliflower ear. That was the inside of my nose. Like it was all just clogged. I spoke like my nose was stuffed. This was how my voice was.
Wait, hold on. Is this because I listened to a version of your voice when you were younger?
Yeah.
And it sounds totally different. It
It's
almost
also
sounds
getting
like
older. Your voice definitely deeper. So that's me with the.
Wait, that's you?
Yeah, when I got the nose plugs. So that's after the operation. So
Oh my God!
that's it
Look
right
how
there.
big your nose is.
Well, it's all swollen.
I
right
know.
there. Anyway, so if you have a deviated septum, I can't recommend it enough. It's such a huge thing to do. It opens up your nose, and you get like 10% more cardio. My jiu-jitsu changed totally. Like my gas in jiu-jitsu was way better. I was like, this is crazy. Why did I do this a long
For
time
breathing
ago?
through your nose and not your mouth?
No, because you breathe through both.
Oh.
So you have more
I got
airs
it.
coming in.
This is how you tell if you have a deviated septum. Put a mirror underneath, or take your phone and do a video, and then breathe through your nose. And if it closes, like mine shuts.
Yeah.
And they showed that to me.
Yeah, you have a deviated septum.
I have a
for sure.
dude. You know what happens to me when I sleep?
Yeah.
My fucking goozle swells up.
Yeah, you were telling me.
It's the fucking worst.
Yeah, we were trying to decide where the tonsils were, and you explained the tonsils are actually on the side, and your wife was calling it a goozle.
She's a redneck.
She's this little.
She goes, this goozle got
that
swallowed.
little thing, whatever the word is, the technical
It's a
word.
uvula. It's uvulitis.
So I put the mouthpiece in, and then I
get
tape up my mouth.
no uvulitis if I have mouth tape in.
Yeah, so this is the thing. I don't snore at all anymore. Zero snoring. Like I'm silent when I sleep.
No sleep mask. After
No.
your mask.
I don't have anything. No. But I woke up the first day I did it. I was like, holy I feel so much better. Like instantaneously notice the difference. Like I was like 30% more rested. Something like that. Like I felt just like a significant number where I could like feel it. I was like, whoa. And I've been doing it that way for like a week now.
So if I put those nose strips on, because I can breathe through my nose if I have
You should get your nose operated on.
no fucking way.
Yeah.
Dude, I have a
It's
hernia.
not that
I'm
big a
gonna
deal.
get done.
You should get that done too.
No.
Yeah, you should.
That's the
Your,
worst.
your guts are gonna poke out of your stomach. That's what it is.
They already do, Joe.
That's gross. No, I mean your guts, not
No,
fat.
they do, Joe.
Do they poke out right
Yeah.
now? Hey, let me see.
No.
Show me.
Like,
Can you make it poke out?
No, but they go like. You can kind of see this.
Where's the hernia?
It's like a fin. Oh, it's bad. If I do a sit up, like I'll show you for real, and you'll see
Okay. I'm watching Bert do a sit-up. Oh, that's scary, dude. That's a rip in the center of your stomach?
it. I remember when it happened.
Oh, dude, how long ago?
Probably 12 years ago.
Oh my God.
I was
man.
doing a Tough Mudder, and
God.
I had to pull myself up one of those half pipes. And so I ran and I grabbed it and I pulled and I pulled and I felt a tear and I was like, whoa. This is just, and I was like, God, man, that fucking hurt. What happened? And I was like, I'm fine. And then like I want to say like 2 weeks later, I'm laying in bed with my wife and I kind of lean up and I see it and I go, oh fuck, what's this? And then a bunch of dads get it. Like some dudes get it when they just gain a lot of weight. That's another way to get it. But like I've never been that fat. But Tommy, I think Tommy might have had one. Or
Eddie Bravo had two.
yeah,
He had one
they
on
say
both
it's
sides.
elective.
Oh, he had to get it. Eddie had to get it fixed.
My problem is I'd get it fixed, but then I'm afraid of the aftermath of the surgery of 13 weeks of recovery of me not working out. I'm gonna go fucking haywire.
You don't have to go haywire. That's nonsense. You should get it fixed. You should get it fixed and get your nose fixed too. Just get it fixed. Just bite the bullet. Don't live with a compromised body. Like, they know how to fix those things. You should get it fixed.
Yeah.
Like the nose thing's giant. Breathe out of your nose, you change your fucking life. I couldn't do yoga class. The instructor, he would get mad at me. He'd like, you have to breathe out of your nose. I'm like, I don't have a nose. It doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work. My nose, I had like 1/4 of one nostril. That was the only thing that was open.
For real.
Yeah, my right side was
So it wasn't just
completely
deviated.
closed.
It was just.
Well, Luke Rockhold, former UFC champion, had a post that he did about his nose recently, where they were like going through his nose with one of those cameras.
Yeah.
And so you could see like what's in there. It's the same thing. It says his is completely clogged up. Like you hear Justin Gaethje talk, his nose is totally clogged up. Like there's a lot of and Justin actually got his nose fixed, and then he fought Max Holloway, and I think that might have put it back again.
How long?
Yeah.
What's the nose surgery? What's the?
I was doing jiu-jitsu 6 weeks later.
Okay, you're Joe. I'm Bert.
Yeah, but I mean, 6 weeks later, I was fine. I didn't
Oh,
take any pain pills. No, I wasn't. I mean, I was fine to roll, but I
Yeah.
was fine the next day. Yeah, I had to have those stupid fucking things in my nose for a while. I forget how long that lasted. But then when they pulled those out, I was good to go. But the doctor, I remember this, the doctor gave me 2 pain pill prescriptions. He was insistent on giving me these pain pill prescriptions. And I was like, okay. I go, but it doesn't hurt now. So is it gonna hurt more later? And he's like, it might. I go, but it might not, right? Like, he goes, but you should have these. Like, he wanted to write me these pain pill prescriptions. I was like, this is kind of creeping me out, man.
Yeah.
Because I had already known a bunch of people that had pill problems back then. But it was just weird that he wanted to write me 2 of them. And I told him, I go, listen, I just had knee surgery a couple months ago. And I go, it wasn't a couple years ago, rather. And I didn't take any pain medication. I go, I don't like it. I just did it. I just had the surgery and then just dealt with the pain. I'd rather deal with the pain than that feeling. I don't like that feeling. You know, I mean, I got ACL surgery like way back in the day, and they gave me like Vicodins or one of those type of things, Percocets or Vicodins, I forget what it was. But I remember feeling so stupid. I was like, well, this is not for me. Like whatever this is, I'd rather be in pain than have my fucking brain just filled with like cotton. It just felt like it was just like clogged up. Like it wouldn't work right. Like it was terrible.
Tommy and I like that.
But my doctor, he just wanted me to take these pills.
I think it's that you were talking to me about statins for a while, and you were saying that I don't know. You were saying, or whatever I read was that these companies are getting, these doctors are getting paid out to get people on statins. The companies are saying, get people on statins, we'll pay you out. And
Doctors get a variety of rewards, I'm finding out. They get a variety of rewards depending upon how many people in their practice get vaccinated. And if they lose a certain percentage, if they have less than a certain percentage, then they don't get payouts. There's some weird shit that's involved in medicine. That's financial incentives that don't necessarily align up with, your best health. And I think that doctors profit off of providing people with pain pills, especially when you have a legitimate reason to want to take pain pills. But I really don't think you should take them. At least I don't take them. I just don't. I think if you have something horrible wrong with you and you're in agony all day, I totally understand. But for a regular thing, like you hurt your back a little bit, so now you're on OxyContin,
That's what happened to me. I got pretty much addicted to them. So I fell off that waterfall.
Get everybody.
Dude, they get you.
They get everybody.
I can tell you the moment it happened was we had to go to dinner with my wife's friends, and I didn't want to go, and we weren't drinking. And I remember thinking, I wonder if I double up on my pain pills. That'll get me through tonight. And I did, and man, it was an enjoyable fucking night. And I smoked a little weed, and I was fucking perfect. The next morning I woke up, and Leanne found out. So we were going camping that weekend. And I reached over to get my pills, because the first thing I did in bed, grab a pill, pop a pill, lay there for a while. Went over, my pills were gone, and Leanne was at the foot of the bed. She goes, "You're done, big boy." And I was like, I go, "Hold on." And this is like negotiating, like junkie negotiating. I go, "Hold on, baby, we're going camping. Like we're gonna be sleeping on the hard ground." She goes, "Nope." She goes, "Go get as much weed as you want, drink as much as you want, get through the pain that way. These things are fucking poison." They're scary because you don't even realize what you look like to other people. We went to Hawaii with the family one time, and we went to the luau. I wasn't drinking in Hawaii that trip for whatever reason, but I was bummed at the luau because I was like, everyone's getting these Mai Tais, and I'm drinking water, and I looked, and this mom was clearly on oxys, and you watched her nod out at the table, and when you see something like that and you're not drinking, you're like, thank God I'm not fucking drinking. I remember watching her nod out, and her whole family sees it, and she's like,
Dude, what percentage of this country is hooked on oxys right now? It's got to be a scary percentage.
I bet what do you think is more, oxys or Xanax? Xanax is totally plausible. Take a Xanax, you're going to be fine. My cardiologist, Dr. Gadan, shout out to Dr. Gadan, he's a big fan of yours, but he told me, I said something about Xanax, and he goes, "Hey man, I'm your doctor, don't ever fucking take those things." I was like, "Really?" He goes, "This is the leading cause of dementia. Do not take fucking Xanax."
Xanax is the leading
so
cause
he told
of
me,
dementia?
he was like, by the way, I apologize, Dr. Gadan, I'll give you a shout out. He's like, "That's not my exact words, Bert. God damn it."
Yeah, you might have fucked that up. We might want to delete that.
No, he said your brain, it turns your brain to mush.
Well, it's definitely not good for your brain. It's one of the most dangerous drugs to get off.
Oh, they won't admit you to rehab if you're on benzos.
Right.
We took a friend to rehab one time, and the one question they asked, "Have you taken a benzo in the last 24 hours?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Nope, can't take it." They don't want to deal with it. It is so dangerous to get off benzos.
Yeah, it's one of the. There's only a few things that people die if they get addicted to it, and then you cut them off. One of them is alcohol.
Really?
Yeah.
I think you have to drink. You have to drink when you wake up.
Oh yeah, you have to be a complete drunk, and somehow or another your body shifts into surviving drinking alcohol all the time. You're killing yourself for sure, but your body relies on it. I forget what the mechanism is, but there's an actual mechanism. There's some sort of a shift when your body's got so much alcohol, and then when you get off alcohol entirely, you can die.
Oh, you have a stroke.
I don't know what the cause of death is, but I know that benzos is another drug that does that. When you get off of it, you can die. Like it's one of those things that you just cold turkey benzos. If you're popping Xanax all day long, you're like, "Oh, I'm done." Like you can die.
It's crazy how clean life is when you're not partying.
Oh yeah.
Like you haven't drank in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. It's like amazing how the sky looks different, the trees look different.
Well, you have more energy.
So much. The gym is night and day different.
Oh yeah.
Like I work out every day, regardless. Ran 5 miles today. Drank last night on the plane. 5 miles today. And now I feel clean. But then I go, if I don't drink tonight, which I probably will. Who are we lying to, Joe? No, but like the next day, I feel like $1 million. You get me in the gym, and I want to be on the treadmill, and I get excited for fucking those sissy squats you do.
Yeah.
I love those bitches. I got the board.
Oh yeah.
Get a fucking
slant board squats.
slant board squat. Get a 45 fucking weight in my arms.
Yeah.
Do 15 of those bitches.
Those are great,
And you
right?
feel it. You're like that last one. You know what my favorite squat to do is? What's the one where you lean back and you squat and you're tilted back?
Squat. Lean back. It's called bad form.
No.
It's called back injury waiting to happen. Lean back and squat. That sounds crazy.
Like a landmine squat or something, where you have the pole, you have the
Oh, okay, yeah, landmine. Yeah.
And you get deep into that bitch.
Oh yeah, those are great. Those are great for like rotation, of course, too.
Oh yeah.
You know, Viking shit. You know what I'm saying?
I'm always impressed when a man can program his own workout.
Really?
I can't. Yeah, because I can't. Like, I
You
think.
don't do your own work?
No, I have a guy program for me.
Okay.
He
so
comes to my house and trains me every day.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
you don't work out on your own at all?
If I work out on my own, I run.
Okay. So you must like that, right? We get alone time. You must like that.
I love getting on the treadmill by myself and just fucking going.
Yeah, alone time's big. So that's what I like the most about like working out by myself. Like I can figure out what to do. I know what to do.
Yeah.
So I just program my own shit.
Yeah, I think that's impressive. I tell you what,
There's so much shit to
the
do.
game changer for me in working out, and I think that, you know, I never understood like guys like Cam or David Goggins, and then they pushed themselves so hard. And when we did that bench press competition, I realized most of the time when everyone works, the regular person works out, they just want to get through it and be done with it.
Right.
They're like, I know, I cheated a little bit for fuck it, that was 12. But when you're training for something, and this must be like this with mixed martial artists and with all those motherfuckers, you're training your body for an actual event,
Right.
to protect yourself from other men.
Yeah.
And I was like, and when I had a goal in mind, I was like, oh, this is different. Like I'm doing everything he's telling me to do, and I'm doing it the right way, and I'm doing it to like failure because I'm trained. If I know that if I do that, then when I get to the day where I do the bench, I can then complete the mission I'm set out to do.
Right.
And
You got a goal.
I think a more goal-oriented workout. Like if they said, like, dude, just so you know, a wolf's coming to your house in 2 weeks.
Right.
You know, we need to work out, get ready for that wolf.
Right.
You'd work out so hard
Right.
for that fucking wolf.
Yeah, I'd be like, fuck.
Yeah.
Dude. I tell you about my friend in Colorado. They let wolves loose near his land.
No.
Yeah, they just let wolves loose in Colorado. They let a bunch loose in one part of the state, and then they let a bunch more loose. He said it was 5. I don't know if that's accurate, but that's what he was told. And
For what purpose? Just
they've decided to repopulate the state with wolves, and they're getting wolves from like British Columbia. So these big ass fucking Canadian wolves are coming in and fucking the elk up. And this is outside of Aspen, so these are like all these really wealthy people.
holy shit.
And they let wolves loose on their property. And by the way, there's livestock there. These people have cattle. They have all sorts of. So far, the wolves in his area haven't attacked cattle because there's an abundance of elk up there. It's a big elk corridor where the elk migrate. And I took a picture and posted it up on Instagram of an elk leg that he found. Just like within 2 weeks of them being released, they had already started killing elk on his property. So a wolf took out an elk and left the leg bone just laying in the snow.
Wait, how many wolves did they let go?
5, he thinks.
But
This is what he
don't
told me.
wolves, do they release them as a pack?
I don't know if they will pack up. I don't know if they knew each other before. I don't know what the fucking neighborhood
Did they
the
grow
wolves
up
they took
together?
from. Yeah. So that's what we
Oh,
found.
shit.
So that's an elk leg that's just been stripped down. The lower leg, no meat on it, just the hoof and some fur and shit. It's laying in it. Just a bunch of disturbed areas. It was all fucked up. You could tell some shit went down. So we found that piece there. They had dragged that from somewhere else, but there was a carcass up there too. So they basically can kill. They could probably kill 1 or 2 elk a day, and they probably will do that now. And so the elk population will rapidly diminish. The elk have no idea. They've never evolved around wolves. these elks, these elk are in like who knows how many generations with no wolves. So the United States had wolves all throughout the West, and then they eradicated them because they fucking kill everything. Because they kill livestock, they kill horses, they pack up, they get big packs, and then they devastate livestock, sheep herders, cattle. So they all murdered all the wolves. So now these people, these greenies, these little cutie pies, decided to bring back the most intelligent, telepathic apex predator that operates in packs, and you decided to let them loose near a ski town. Like, congratulations.
Why the fuck?
Because they're cute, because these are people that grew up in cities and they don't understand. It's called ballot box biology. It's a bunch of people who grew up in the city, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and they don't know what a wolf really is. They just think, wow, life's amazing. And then so you've let loose apex predators in an area where nothing is prepared for them. These animals don't know to look for wolves. They've never experienced a wolf before. They don't have a natural instinct to run away when they see the wolves. They don't know what the fuck is going on. And then you've got cattle.
You can't tell wolves what to kill either.
Of course not. Well, here's even better. The first ones they got, so they had a mandate to get these. Colorado voted. They voted it to release wolves. And so the governor had to get it done within a certain period of time. And so they got wolves from Oregon that had been killing cattle. So these wolves, they captured them because they had been killing cattle, and then they released them in Colorado where they, wait for it, started killing cattle.
Oh, shit.
Duh. So wolves are awesome, but they were making their way into Colorado by themselves. They were already coming down from Wyoming. There's wolves in Montana, Wyoming, Idaho, and they were making their way down naturally. But these idiots decided to accelerate the process and introduce this completely new element outside of a fucking ski town that's going to kill people's dogs, for sure. If they get to a healthy population, you're never going to be able to let your dog go outside.
Yeah.
That's over. Cats, dead. Everybody dead.
They're like 10 times worse than coyotes. You remember coyotes?
They're giant
you ever
coyotes.
seen coyotes jump fences?
Oh, yeah.
And you're like, there's no protecting my chickens from fucking coyotes.
I saw a coyote jump a fence with one of my chickens in its mouth. Jumped a 6-foot-high wrought iron fence like it was nothing. Bow! Touched the top of the fence with its feet with a chicken in its mouth. And right over the top. I was like, whoa. I was so delusional.
Yeah.
I thought, like, oh, this fence is this big. They can't get over that. Dude, one jump. Feet to the top, other feet to the top, over the top with a chicken in its mouth.
All my neighbors have red lights on their fences. That's the only thing that stops coyotes, I say.
Oh, they don't jump over a red light?
I have no fucking idea. But they all have like, it looks like a red bicycle light on every panel of their fence.
They're little monsters.
What state?
They're wolves too, by the way.
They are?
Coyotes are wolves. Yeah, they're small wolves.
I remember, you know, it's funny, the little things you remember. I remember you talking about the coyotes honeydicking your dog one time.
Yeah.
I always think that's the funniest phrase, honeydicking.
Yeah, they try to honey dick your dog. So what they do is one coyote. I've told this story before, but I'll say it quick. I went to this pet store that I used to go to, and one of the guys that worked in the pet store, he was a veterinarian, and he brought in someone had brought in this pit bull that was covered in cuts. Like his whole body was like hundreds of stitches, and he's like, "What happened?" He was like, "I don't know. He got out." And then, you know, when I came home, he was outside the fence, and this is what he looked like. So this guy, they stitched the dog up, and then he follows a blood trail into the woods outside of his house where he finds 9 dead coyotes. So they honey-dicked, you know, a giant pit bull. Like one of them super jacked, muscular pit bulls with a fucking fire hydrant head.
The kind that are on the front of rap albums.
Terrifying pit bull. And this pit bull just killed everyone. They fucked with the John Wick of pit bulls. And he just killed them all. Killed all the coyotes. They were all he said it looked like Vietnam. He said they were just torn apart. Because once the dog killed them, he's not going to stop. He's going to start shaking them. You know, especially a pit bull like that's in a blood rage that just fight for its life. Like, it was probably so happy. Like, so happy to do this because pit bulls just want to fight all the time.
I've been wanting to do this every fucking day I wake up.
It was a guy who's a jiu-jitsu black belt and a drunk grab, and he was like, thank you. Thank you. I've been practicing for this my whole life. But can you imagine the scene? Imagine a scene, just dead coyotes, just ripped apart, just throats torn open, guts hanging out, legs broken. Because this dog, if a dog like that bites a coyote's leg, that leg's broken. That's a shattered leg. That leg doesn't work anymore.
The poundage that pit bulls bite is fucking wild.
You know what a wolf is? It's like 5 times stronger.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah, that's how crazy these retards are that let loose these apex telepathic super predators into a ski town. We're filled with super rich people. And the super rich people, right now, they're finding out about this. They are freaking the fuck out.
I bet they are.
Oh, yeah. All my buddy who lives out there, all his neighbors, they're all trying to figure out what they can do. You know, they're all collared, too. So there's an app, and you can get on the app and find out where the monsters are. Yeah, you want to get scared?
Yeah, I want to get. Hang on, I gotta get that app. I gotta get that app.
How about you're walking, and then you see the fucking app is showing you they're behind you. All 5 of them behind you, and you're with your family. But maybe you voted on that because you think wolves are amazing. That's Little Red Riding Hood, bro. That's
You can track these
3
wolves
pigs.
on an
You can
app.
track them on an app.
That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool to know where the monsters are. But
They do that with sharks, great white sharks.
But these people in the neighborhood are all tracking these wolves. So they're all freaking out because these wolves are like circling their homes, circling their property.
Fuck.
Some of them have gone right through fields with cattle and not done anything about it. Yeah, they don't even understand why. They haven't attacked any cattle yet. But these are ones that are outside of Aspen. So the ones that they brought in from Oregon, that's not outside of Aspen. It's a different spot. Those are the ones that were depredation tags. They were already killing wildlife, or they were killing cattle.
What state do you think has the most predators? Like Australia has the most predators in the world.
country?
In our country, yeah.
I would say Alaska for sure.
Florida.
Oh yeah, that's a good call.
Florida's
yeah, no,
fucking
Florida
crazy.
for sure. Florida now, because you brought in reptiles. Yeah, 100%. Florida has more pythons in it, in the Everglades, than all the rest of the world.
Yeah. You see those kids that go in? You see those kids that dive in and grab them?
I had Python Cowboy on the show. He brought me up. Don't we have a python head laying around here somewhere? Something.
Oh, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
Apex predator. Florida
Florida's
is
jacked.
No one even comes close
No
to
one's
Florida.
even close. Wait,
Oh, wait,
what's Maine?
Maine?
Why is Maine? What is it?
Vermont. That's got
Right. Okay. So the one with the boot,
Well, this is not good, guys.
the boot is Massachusetts, right? Or no, that's New York. We're so stupid. You know who could draw the whole map by hand? Al Franken.
Vermont.
Okay. Yeah, it's
What
Massachusetts
predators
is
are
the
in
one
Vermont?
with the hook. Okay, so Vermont predators. Yeah, what predators are in Vermont? That must be like wolverines and shit. Oh, red and gray foxes, coyotes,
Bobcats.
black bears, fishers, bobcats, and red and gray foxes, with wolves and lynx also present, although the later are rare. Lather.
Good God.
Interesting.
I remember. I
Black
said.
bears.
I said the other day on Instagram. I had my hose all wrapped up, and I was like, I don't know if this is because I'm from Florida, but I never put my hand into a hose bucket without kicking it a couple times.
When you say I got my hose all wrapped up, I thought you had your ladies making money.
My hose doesn't
My
make any
hose
money.
was wrapped up. They're making that money. I got my hose wrapped up.
Have you ever had rattlesnake on your property out here?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah. Out here, we've had one. One of my neighbors had a couple coral snakes in her garage. Those are scary.
Coral snakes are the ones that look like
Red and black.
but it's
They're
like
beautiful.
black and yellow kill a fellow, red and red, white, and blue. I don't
America.
know. He's cool.
I don't know what the, but my old house in California, there was a bunch of them.
Your old house was in the wilderness.
Yeah, well, I was in a place where there was a lot of
Red
wildlife.
touches yellow, kill a fellow. Red touches black, venom, lack. There's no venom.
Oh, to help identify venomous coral snakes. Oh, I see.
'Cause I think
so
we have
some
those-
coral snakes are not venomous?
No, it's a
Oh, yeah, that's what it looked like.
it's a king snake. A scarlet king snake is harmless. Coral snakes are deadly.
Okay,
And so we had both in Florida, I think. So you never got near either of them.
But go back to that image chain. The one on the top, red touches yellow, kill a fellow. That's it. So that's the one that'll kill it. Red touches black, Scarlet king snake, harmless. Interesting.
I'm not gonna roll the dice on that.
I would not remember this. I would fuck that up.
I'd be like, wait,
that
black.
thing looks like it will fucking for sure kill you.
Red touches black. Step back. What? Yellow, black,
Red
and
touches yellow, kill a fellow. That's the one. That's all you have to remember. Red touches yellow, kill a fellow.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
That's red touches yellow. Fuck that creature. So my friend, she had 2 of them in her garage. Yeah, not good.
Not
but
good.
my old house, remember? Did you ever meet Frank? You never met Frank. I used to have this pit bull named Frank Sinatra, and Frank would.
I only knew Johnny.
Frank killed everything. Everything that got in that yard was dead.
Really?
Yeah, he was a psycho, and he would kill rattlesnakes all the time. So he'd get bit all the time. So like fucking.
I'm like, wait, how did he not get bit?
He got bit every time. So I have to keep bringing him to the fucking vet. I brought him to the vet like at least 3 times. And one time I had to bring him twice because he had been stung. He'd been bit by rattlesnakes so many times that he had developed some sort of an immunity. So I brought him the first time, and we're at the vet. He was super friendly. He was the sweetest dog. Loved everybody, but like vicious with snakes and lizards.
Yeah.
Lizards are like his video game. He would like jump on the walls to try to get the lizards that were crawling on the walls. He would leap into the air to try to get these lizards. So I brought him to the vet, and the vet's like, I don't see a puncture mark, and he's not swelling, so I wouldn't worry about it. And I'm like, wow, how the fuck did you kill that snake and not get bit? And then I brought him back to the house, and his face immediately swole back up again. So then I had to bring him back to the vet, and the vet's like, he's been stung, he's been bit so many times that he probably has some sort of immunity.
Jesus.
Yeah.
It's
a coral snake too. It doesn't go by the brine.
That is so
And that is
beautiful.
one of the most venomous snakes in the world.
God, I would assume that would fuck you up.
Kills king cobras apparently.
It kills king cobras. Look
Yeah,
how
it's a Malaysian
beautiful it is. Somewhere there's some idiot in Florida in a death metal band that wants this. And he's gonna have it in his house until he can't feed it anymore. It's like, little fella, I gotta let you go. And he's gonna let it loose, and it's gonna go in the fucking Everglades, and then you're gonna have 500,000 of them there.
Slash had poisonous snakes in his house.
Of course he did.
And
Look
then
at him.
there was an earthquake.
Oh, great.
I read that in one of their books, or I talked to Slash once about it.
They got out?
And I think they got out and they had to send someone in the house to, I can't remember exactly, but there was an earthquake and he had like a cobra.
Oh, God.
Yeah. I don't understand, I understand wanting to have a snake, but poisonous snakes, I can't wrap my head around.
No.
You can never touch it, you can never play with it.
Fuck all snakes. How about that? How about all that?
I went
How
through
about
I went
snakes
through
are the
a snake
reason
phase.
why we wear clothes? A snake tricked Eve into eating that fucking apple, and now we're ruined. All right? Now we have to have Jesus come save us.
You definitely
Snakes.
look like you would have gone through a lizard phase, though.
No. Well, listen. I had one idea that was the dumbest idea.
The snake guy.
What is going on?
The cop
You
doesn't.
got snakes?
Oh, this is the wrong cop to pull a snake out with?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I'll stand right here.
Now wait a minute. You don't understand how many there are.
Dude.
You see all them snakes right there?
Yeah.
You see them snakes right there?
Yeah.
They're my baby. I care more about them snakes than I do a human life. Just like that, man. Them
Okay.
snakes mean more.
Look, he's already out the door. He's like, sure thing, buddy.
So I had this one idea once. I had this house that was it had like a center courtyard, and I was gonna seal off the center courtyard and get a crocodile monitor
Badass fucking monitor.
and feed it rabbits, and have like a wild kingdom in the center of my house.
I love it.
So I was gonna set up trees because it had like open air. So I was like, I'm gonna set up a canopy, trap it in there like a greenhouse, make it nice and warm so it's an environment, put trees up everywhere, and then just let shit loose and watch.
Yeah.
Then I was like, that's so fucked up. It's like, and then I started thinking, like, what's wrong with you? It's like, if I started thinking about me, I didn't like me. Like, imagine taking one of your friends over your house, and you have a murder sanctuary in the centerpiece of your home.
Oh.
The atrium of your home is just like you watch animals just get slaughtered. They have no chance of escape, unlike the wild.
Oh.
In the wild, the rabbit can get away.
Dude, we used to
Kind
do
of a
that
fair fight.
in our fraternity. My buddy Mason had a big python, and they'd buy rats and they'd put money on it, and they'd put them in the corners and put the python in the center, and they have the benches from our cafeteria lined up. It'd be in a square, and we bet on which one he'd eat first. And it was crazy. Rats would go right up to the snake's face and touch the snake's face. Snake wouldn't even fucking touch it. And then all of a sudden, just you'd see him coil up.
Yeah, they just make the move.
I had a Savannah monitor. I had a iguana. Savannah monitor ate mice, and then iguana just nothing. It just
Those rats that they fed that snake, or those mice they fed that snake, those things are just bred in captivity. They have no fear. They don't know. They don't know what's going to hurt them and what's not going to hurt them. Nothing's ever hurt them. Everything's just fed them.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, serpent.
My dog caught a squirrel. My dog, I have 2 bull mastiffs. Mac, the big one, has been. He's wanted to catch a squirrel the same way I wanted to have anal sex with my wife. Like, he wants it every fucking day. And then he caught a squirrel, and I think it would be the same as if I had anal sex with my wife. It was way messier than he thought. He thought it was going to be a fun game, and he broke it in half and was throwing it, and then it wasn't moving, and he'd move it, and I was like, oh, buddy, you should have never got what you wanted. He was like, this isn't fun anymore. I looked at him, he's just like, what the fuck? I guess I'll eat grass now?
Yeah, clean his mouth out.
My 2 bull mastiffs caught the possum who was killing our chickens.
Possums kill chickens?
Possum killed our chickens.
No
3
shit.
chickens, like I'm almost saying like back to back to back.
Oh, of course they do. They look like predators.
Yeah.
I mean, they have a predator mouth.
And my 2 bull mastiffs caught a possum and they tortured this thing. I'm talking Al Qaeda beheading video while we were out to dinner. And we got home and furniture was moved around and this fucking possum was soaking wet. I mean, they must have thrown this thing around the room and it was just in the corner playing dead.
It was still alive?
Yeah, and the dogs were just fucking ragdolling it.
How is it still alive?
I don't know. We had to catch it
Your
in a
mastiff
bucket.
is fucking huge.
Yeah, they were just toying with it, I think. They were just fucking throwing them around. They had them cornered in the fact we had a bucket, and you can't kill possums in the county of LA. It's illegal to kill a possum.
That's hilarious.
I know.
That's so funny. You know you can kill coyotes.
No, in LA?
Oh, yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Because we have a den of coyotes that come back through our backyard at times.
Coyotes are like rats.
Dude,
That's how they look. I don't think they're like rats. Let me just be real clear. I think they're cool. But I wanted to kill one. I wanted to kill them when they killed all my chickens.
Dude,
they killed all my fucking chickens.
I have a Hoyt bow with a 69-pound tension that would light a fucking coyote. I've been wanting to hunt something.
Don't shoot your neighbors, dude. California laws allows for the killing of fur-bearing mammal that is injuring property at any time and in any manner. Any manner. However, animal cruelty laws prohibit maliciously and intentionally maiming, mutilating, torturing, wounding, or killing an animal.
There I go.
Wait a minute. Prohibit intentionally killing an animal. So how can you have a law that allows for killing a fur-bearing mammal that is injuring property at any time in any manner, but also have a law that prohibits intentionally killing an animal? It says maliciously, so you'd be angry.
Wait, hold on. Am I saying the word possum wrong?
Opossums. No, I say it. Opossum,
Yeah,
I think is the right way to say it.
It's like, did you know it's wheelbarrow?
It's not barrel?
It's wheelbarrow.
Interesting. Makes it illegal to intentionally and maliciously kill an animal. But intentionally and maliciously are different things. Like if you're killing an animal to protect your dog, the key, here it is. The key difference lies in the intent and manner of killing. Killing an opossum that is causing damage to property is one thing, but torturing or inflicting unnecessary suffering is a different matter. Okay, that makes sense.
So I think my dogs broke the law.
Here's a guy was convicted and sentenced for torturing an opossum to death, including beating, burning, and hanging it from a noose.
Okay. That's a lot.
Much. Another case,
Sounds like a hate crime.
father and son were arrested for allegedly killing an opossum, but the arrests were later deemed unlawful, and the city settled a lawsuit with the family for $400,000. Okay. Consider contacting a professional pest control operator or wildlife removal service. Yeah, I mean, I'm not too worried about possums, but
In our old house, we had
coyotes
rats.
are to be worried about.
I'd fucking light up a coyote.
They're to be worried about.
I
If
need
you
them
have a small dog,
I need them to be exactly 25 yards away from me, though.
you know.
Because that's all I'm like. I'm only scoped out from my porch to the fire pit.
Don't you have a adjustable sight?
No, I have 4 sights.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
really learn that much about bow hunting with Cam. I just shot a couple times. But I know that like one site is for that distance, one site's for that distance.
Right.
And I don't even need the second site in my backyard. Like my backyard's not that big.
Right. You should go somewhere where you could practice. Like
They have a good one. They have a good one in, I think, it's over in a park. They have a whole archery range.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should go there.
I get weird with that shit. I have weird issues about like joining in, or doing something new, like getting into a spin class and I've never met anyone. I just kind of like doing it in my backyard.
Doing it in the backyard is fun, but just for your own ability to get better at it, you really should stretch out your distance.
Yeah.
Because what happens is there's little tiny errors in your form that don't show up at 20 yards that'll show up at 60 yards. And you got to find out what those are. Like I will always shoot at 85 yards.
You shoot at 85 yards?
85 yards.
And you're at your house?
Yeah. Yeah. I set 85 yards is a distance I would never shoot an animal at. And if I could be super accurate at 85 yards, when an animal's at 50 yards, it feels to me like a chip shot. Like I can just nail it. Because I'm always shooting long distances. So at a long distance, any little deviation, torque of your hand, it can make a big difference in how the arrow goes off. And at 70 yards, it might be 4, 5, 6 inches to the left, to the right, up, down. It's spread out, and you want to tighten it up like this. You want to get that group like a softball. That's what I want. I want a softball at 85 yards. That's when I know I can go hunting.
Yeah.
When I can get a softball at 85 yards, I'm dialed in. So
I've been shooting from a higher platform too. Is that bad?
That's very good. That's very good. Especially if you ever have to go hunting in a tree stand. Tree stand hunting is very difficult. So I've only done it once. My good friend John Dudley took me to his farm in Iowa. John actually taught me a lot about archery too. Like most of what I know about like form and technique I learned from John. And anyway, John has this amazing setup in Iowa, and you go up in these tree stands, and you have to like buckle yourself in with like a safety wire or a safety rope, and you're sitting there like all day. You sit all day. It's freezing. It's November, it's in Iowa, it's fucking 3 degrees. You're sitting there freezing your fucking dick off. And sometimes you have these giant suits that you put over your whole body and zip up like you're a giant burrito of fur, almost like a sleeping bag.
And you're sober and you're not doing anything but just waiting.
Yeah, you can't be drunk.
Can't be listening to like a podcast.
You really shouldn't. You want to hear branches snapping. You want to hear the little cracks, the little sounds, little that's what you're listening for. Guys even wear these things called Walker game ears. And Walker game ears it's almost like a hearing aid, and you put them in and you crank it up and you can hear things like way amplified. There's certain headphones you wear if you go to a gun range that they tune out any sound that's over a certain pitch, like a certain volume, but amplify other sounds. So you can hear people talking like from way away.
Really?
Yeah, way stronger like ability to hear. But then the gun, it cuts out the sound when it gets to a dangerous. So every gun's like tack 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 tack, but the sound of other people is still present. So you can talk at a gun range. You don't have to have like full ear, like the foam ones stuffed in there where you have to pull, like at Terran Tactical, they always use those.
Yeah.
You have to pull them out to talk to people. These you can cut. So these guys wear things like that so they can hear everything in the forest. Wow. They can hear every little sound because when a deer's coming in, they come in slowly. They're all weary and shit. They're stepping on the grass. They're moving around. And you might just hear something, just a rustle. And you see, and you gotta get your bow. So you're waiting all day for one moment and you're shooting down. Because like the animals, like they're down like below you. Or like you're at a like sharp angle, so you have to have like a range compensating, angle compensating rangefinder, because the shot might be 40 yards, but it actually might be 20 yards because you're shooting straight down. Yeah. So you're shooting straight down. The way your arrow is going to drop, it's not going to be as affected by gravity. So like if you're shooting 40 yards on a flat plane, the arrow is going to arc and it's going to drop. So over the course of the 40 yards, if your arrow is going 290 feet per second, which is a good speed, it's going to slowly drop until it gets to 40 yards. So that's why your range, like you set up the pin,
Yeah.
you move it to where the arrow's going to be when it finally gets there at 40 yards.
Wait,
You'll know where
can
the
you
dip
move your
is.
own pin?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I need camera.
Well, I have
mine.
a wheel that it's set up that, like, I have what's called a spot hog, a fast eddy, and it's got 2 pins on it. And one pin will be at 20 yards, the other pin will be at 35 yards. And then I move it down, and then the one pin is at 50 yards, and the other pin is at like 75 yards.
Oh, that's not mine.
Or 65
Mine's
yards.
just got four different sites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So mine is an adjustable one. It's on a wheel, and that's what you need because, like, with a range, like say if a deer's coming in, you're in a tree stand. You look and you're like, that's pretty far away, but it's pretty far like this, straight down. So pretty far straight down, your arrow's not going to drop as
So it's
much
just
as
straight?
if you were shooting straight.
Yeah.
If you're shooting straight, it's going to go boom, and then. So you have to have a rangefinder that figures that out for you.
Oh,
and it
shit.
says even though that's 40 yards away, the angle compensation is actually 26 yards. So you have to dial your shit to 26 yards, and then you'll be perfect.
Have you ever gone fishing with a bow?
No, I have not, but it looks amazing.
It is so fucking
It
difficult.
looks so. It looks fun too, though.
It's fun, but it's difficult because of the water reflection. You've got to shoot like
6 inches below it, right?
Yeah. Well, I don't know because I never got one. So yeah, I was a little drunk. I was like, this will be easy.
I think you have to shoot 6. It's refraction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you have to shoot below what you see.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's on mine, fuck.
I couldn't. When we sat out there, it was salmon all over.
Oh,
You could see
really?
them. It was and I fucking must have taken 100 shots.
Oh man, that must have been so fun.
It was fun, but you know.
Is that like a recurve bow, or is that a bow with a release? Do you have a release?
I don't remember. I think it was a compound bow.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah, that's better. Compound bow, you can be more accurate. So with the compound bow, like I don't know how to aim with a recurve bow at all. I've only shot one like 3 or 4 times ever, and I went on this trip to Lanai with my family. And one of the things that they had was like this little archery lesson. You could take archery classes and shoot at little targets, and they had recurve bows. I'd never shot a bow without a sight before, so I was like trying to like line it up.
Oh, yeah.
Line up where how do you know where the arrow's gonna go?
That's
You have no
the
idea?
only bows I've ever shot.
It was like a recurve.
Yeah, recurve. I shot a recurve bow. We did like archery lessons in Italy, and so we were at different. You know how like those hills that are like almost like steps, and so they'd have. It was weird because the recurve bow was such that you had to hold it kind of like at an angle,
yeah.
so that
The arrow stays on the
and
shelf.
during the pandemic, I got the girls both recurve bows, and we would shoot in the backyard all the time.
It's fun. It's definitely fun, but it's kind of like throwing a rock or like throwing a baseball. Like you've got to like have a feel for where that baseball's going to go at 30 yards, at 40 yards, at 50. You know, like if you had to throw a baseball and hit a tree, you would know, okay, I got to throw it a little harder.
Yeah.
You get a feel. So that's different than regular archery, compound archery. Because compound archery, you're basically relying on the sight and the technique. Like you dial it in, you get that pin, it's at 42 yards, and then you're just going through your shot process. You're just staying steady and making sure you go through your shot process perfect so that when the shot breaks, the arrow goes exactly where you want to. But with a recurve, like you have to practice all the time because you have to have that feel.
Yeah.
You have to have a feel and know where that arrow is going to go. Like you're looking down the shaft of your arrow, but your accuracy is greatly diminished compared to like a compound bow.
I haven't shot my I only shoot my compound bow now. But I haven't shot my recurve bow with the little wristlet thing Cam gave me. I like to do that because I always use my fingers.
Well, that's an interesting thing. So use a release on a recurve. I'm sure people do that. You'd have to put a D-loop on it though. No, I guess not. You could hold it from the top or the bottom. That would be better. Yeah, that would definitely be better. So you definitely get a more consistent release. But people want to be primitive. You know, like the real psychos, what happens is guys, the highest level of bow hunting is guys go after like elk and deer with a recurve bow. My friend Aaron Schneider did that for a couple of years. He only shot, because he's
There's lots of things that can go wrong. But
Yeah,
that's
it
the most
seems like
beautiful things. There are lots of things that go wrong. Foiling, there's a lot of fucking things that can go wrong. You're 35, 40 miles an hour on top of a guillotine, big waves. I mean,
Dude, I
shit can go wrong
learned how to
fast.
foil 2 years ago. and it took me like 3 hours to get on that fucking thing for the first time because I've never surfed.
You were on an e-foil or
Yeah,
oh, an
e-foil.
e-foil? Yeah.
It took me forever.
Yeah.
Just kept falling down, getting back up, falling down. Meanwhile, my kids, my youngest at the time, she was 12, humiliated me.
Yeah.
She just hopped on it instantly, just scooting around, and look, she knew how to do it immediately. She wakeboards. She does a lot of that shit. She's really athletic, but she was just
Kids
humiliating
learn fast.
me, and I was just like, I'm gonna figure this out. So for hours, I kept falling down and getting back up, falling down, and eventually I got it. And then once I got it, it was like easy.
Yeah.
Once I got it, I was like, oh, I see.
E-foiling is the best. It's the best way to learn how to foil because they weigh 90 pounds. The e-foils do. Like a high performance foil, the whole set will weigh 4 or 5 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, if e-foil, you have a battery. It's heavy, and you've got electricity to learn how to learn foil dynamics. Foiling, when you're high performance foiling in big surf, you're just on if you're towing in, you're on a 3.5 foot board. No battery. It's not powered. It's just you're just riding hydrodynamics.
Are you getting towed in?
You can paddle in, or but if you're towing in the bigger waves, you're on a small board. You're getting towed in behind a jet ski, whipped in, and then you're just riding. It's epic. It's frictionless. So beautiful.
And what's the benefit of that about surfing? Is that you're above the water?
You're above the water. You're not like the ultimate. If you think about the glassiest surf day possible, the frictionless feeling. It's more frictionless than that because you're above the water.
Yeah, I get that on the e-foil. When you get cooking on the e-foil, you're above the water. It's wild. I always feel like I'm gonna fall.
Yeah.
As soon as I get above the water, I'm like, okay, we're going too fast. You're gonna wipe out. But it's gonna be
interesting because
spectacular.
it's like the ultimate receptivity because the foil picks up on underwater wave circulation, so it's picking up on lift when you're going very fast, and also when you're in a wave, the waves have upward circulation at the base of the wave, and at the top of the wave, it accelerates, and so your foil is riding the underwater currents, and you're receiving it so amplified. So like tiny little movements have big effect on things. So like the surf movement will be very big, and the foil movement is very subtle, the body mechanic. And then you learn to really crank into it, and it's limitless. You can do open water foiling, crossing oceans on long, high aspect wings, riding open ocean swells, and you can push. Like high performance foiling is just like high performance surfing. The lines you can draw, the turns are epic, the G's are crazy.
You're just all in on this.
Oh
huh?
yeah, I'm all in.
Is it an everyday thing for you?
Yes, every day. Same as jiu-jitsu, 6 days a week, twice a day if possible.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Do you have goals?
Virtuosity. Yeah, I competed my whole life, and so now I live, like I train the way I would if I was in a world championship training camp.
That's
As a
hilarious.
life,
With
I know.
foiling. Who
Crazy,
else is
funny
doing
guy.
that?
Just a couple lunatics.
How many other people are foiling like they're training for a world championship activity?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is like I love it. But all these arts to me are connected. That's the strange thing about my art, like chess, Chinese martial arts, jiu-jitsu, surfing, foiling. To me, the fascinating thing when you get toward the pinnacle of an art is that you start to experience, at least from my perspective, that the apexes of these arts are much closer to one another than lower down in the mountain of the same art. So people who are virtuosos in various fields are often speaking a much more similar language than people who are at lower levels of the same art in their training. And like when I think about chess, I related to chess through core principles, and those principles manifest in the martial arts. I remember that I had this when I wrote my first book, my second book, The Art of Learning. It was about my experience of crossing over my level from chess into the Chinese martial arts. And I had this really interesting experience where I was giving a simultaneous chess exhibition, playing 40 games at once in a charity for Duchenne muscular dystrophy. But I was at that point I'd been training martial arts for 2 years, and I had not been. I kind of moved. I was in the transition away from chess during that period. And I had this realization that I was winning these chess games, playing 40 games at once, but I was not playing chess. I was feeling flow, riding space left behind. I was riding the energetic wave of the game like I would if we were flowing on the mats. But I was making chess moves. And I realized that these arts had become fundamentally connected. And then that became like an area of interest and of exploration. I started making what I was doing unconsciously more and more conscious. And now when I relate to like chess, I don't move chess pieces anymore, but chess is manifest in everything that I do, as is jiu-jitsu. And as is, like in the ocean arts, I'm manifesting these other arts, the core principles I've experienced through them all the time. And that's it. One of the things that I've been puzzled by for many years is why chess is so fucking hard. Like chess has no luck. The best chess players in the world are so brilliant at what they do. I listened to your episode with Magnus Carlsen. Enjoyed
He
that.
was great.
Yeah, it was cool. Like someone like Magnus, he's so fucking good at what he does. Such a virtuoso. But if you look at like the top 100 or top 1,000 chess players, they're tremendously strong. But when they try to translate their ability to other fields, they often can't. And it's surprising. And I've tried to figure out why for a lot of years, because you think like if you're able to just be so excellent at something that's super hard, you can take on something that's relatively easier and become very good at it. And I think that the reason that people often can't cross level over from one thing to the other is that they learn it in a localized language. So you can learn chess in a way which is very specific to chess, like principles that are just chess principles, or you can learn chess in a language which connects to all of life. And that won't slow down. It might accelerate your chess learning. But you can, and if children are taught games like chess or gymnastics or music or whatever else, so they're learning about that art very deeply. They're touching quality, they're pushing their limits, they're living a life of training, as I know you value very much. But they're doing so in a language which connects to the rest of life. Then they're studying thematic interconnectedness while they're studying chess, or jiu-jitsu, or anything else. And then they're just learning the language of excellence. And it's interesting because if you watch chess teachers teaching students, many of them don't do this. They teach it within like the confines of the chessboard, like a prison. And if you learn chess that way, then it's like you're living on an island and the ocean around you is like prison walls, right? But if you study chess in a way that you're learning how each chess principle connects to every other art you could ever study, then just this web of interconnectedness is forming in your mind. When you take on something else, you're able to cross the level over really, really naturally. And that, in many ways, that's a big part of my life's work, is the study of that interconnectedness.
Do you think that it had to be a huge factor for you that you were sort of forced to reevaluate the way you interface with life when you became famous because of the film at 15? So, childhood chess player, become very well recognized, then all of a sudden this movie, and now you have to kind of like grapple with things. And as you said, these challenges make you a more complex person. And then your ability to sort of push chess aside and try other things, do you think that's because of that? It has to be a factor in this desire to explore other things, because you're kind of thrust into this thing where your thing is now changed. Your thing is now not just flowing and learning and getting better and doing battle with chess. Now it's image and groupies and this bizarre thing that you're living up to, and you don't like it and you want to escape it, and so you have to reevaluate. And so this forced reevaluation from a young age, 15 years old, this key developmental period as a young man, sort of opens you up to the possibilities of all sorts of different ways of living life and all sorts of different things to do with life.
Yeah, a language I use for this is the passage from the pre-conscious to the post-conscious competitor or artist. And like when I aim, then we're not going to be bullshitting ourselves all the time, because there's this truth-telling modality.
Right.
So the question is, how can we, as many of us as possible, live in some form that's true to us, where there's this grounded, truth-telling, accurate feedback loop in what we're doing. We're practicing as a way of life.
My fear is that there's so many of us, probably even people that are listening to this right now, that have never developed that aspect of their life. And it's very difficult to get started on that path once you've been on this path of complacency and comfort. It's very hard for people to sort of embrace this new way of thinking and interfacing with reality.
But when things are hard, that's beautiful. Like, that's the beginning. We want things to be hard.
Yeah.
So the first thing is, I think we want people to love the discomfort of being hard. It's hard. Fucking everything worthwhile is hard.
Right.
Like what have you done that's been interesting that hasn't been hard? Every time you get in an ice plunge, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
Like I cold plunge every day. I think you do too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a way of life. It's fucking hard every time.
Yeah.
It's not easy. Hard is beautiful. Living on the other side of pain.
You know
That's
what's
where
really
things
hard?
get valuable.
Not doing it. And
That's-
knowing that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
That's hard. That's not good for you.
No, it's not good.
If you let that part of you, when you're 40 seconds in, you're like, let's get the fuck out now. If you let that part win, you feel terrible for the rest of the day. But if you just hang in there for 2 minutes and 20 seconds more, you'll feel so good. You get out of there, you're like, all right, got this one done.
It's like you go foiling and you don't fall. That's a terrible day. 'Cause you're not pushing your turns hard enough. You're not breaching enough. You're not
yeah.
ripping it around hard enough, right? Like, everyone finds these. It's like one thing that happens with investors, right? They become successful and then they develop a mental model to replicate the success, right? So they figure out a mental model to become a groove that they can follow. But then the groove becomes a rut they get stuck in, and then it starts to collect water, and it's stagnant water, and they hold to an old mental model based on a success 10 years ago or 20 years ago, and they're trapped in it for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
It happens again and again in every field, right? Some early success creates, you make a framework, you make a modality, you create a mental model, you replicate the success. It's not working, but you stick to it because your identity gets connected to that mental model. And you're not living with dynamic quality. Your qualities become static.
Yeah, it's so hard for people to recognize when that's happening as well. Because, you know, once people get success, then the fear of losing that success overwhelms them. And then sometimes it's easier to control a person who's been successful because they don't want to let this go. They don't want to go back. They want to move forward. They want to continue. So what do I have to do to make sure that and you see this in Hollywood. It's a big thing in Hollywood. People panic when they start doing well, and then they align themselves with other people doing well, and it kind of changes the way they think and the way they behave, because everything's dependent upon you being chosen for things. So your whole life is like wondering what your social status is and how you advance that. Hey, what do I have to say? What should I tweet today? Make sure everybody knows I'm on the right side.
Right, then you're playing not to lose, you're not playing to win. It happens all the time in sports. Like if you're a basketball team and you've been dominating the game and you're up 8 or 10 in the fourth quarter, then you start to protect the lead.
Yes.
No, you didn't get the lead because you were protecting the fucking lead. You were
Right.
dominating with aggression.
Right.
Right? The moment, it's like the prevent defense, in my opinion, is the worst thing ever created in sports strategy. Right? Like, you know what prevent defense?
I've heard of it, but I
Yeah,
don't
it's like
know
if you're a
exactly.
football team and you have a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter or an 8-point lead in the fourth quarter, and you stop doing the dominant things that got you the lead, but you start protecting the lead. So your
Right.
defensive backs sit back. You start allowing 8 or 10 or 12-yard completions. It is now you're protecting the lead versus dominating the opponent. But then you let the opponent feel their strength, feel their
Right.
greatness. They're not dominating anymore. The moment a fighter stops feeling dominated and starts to tap into their greatness, then your fucking opponent's a beast again.
Right.
Right? We see it all the time.
All the time.
Right. So don't protect the fucking lead. Dominate.
Yeah.
Right?
Do it brought you to the dance.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's just it's
In
that-
life.
I think that thing that you're talking about is very critical. That fear of losing once you've won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting in the surf world. So many people I've observed who are great surfers, they want to learn to foil because foiling opens up so much. Right? You can foil all the time in different conditions, in sloppy conditions, in ocean, big wave, small wave. It's so abundant. And they can see how epic it is. But then they try once and they get their ass kicked. It doesn't matter how good a surfer you are, not talking about e-foil, I'm talking about like wave foiling or high performance gear. You're gonna 2-3 months of ass kicking as part of it. It doesn't matter how good you are as a surfer. But now you have to you have to look like a beginner again. You have to go from being the coolest guy in the lineup if you're socialized to being the quote unquote kook, being the guy who's just getting his ass kicked, who's falling all the time. Right? And they don't want to do that. So their ego of the excellent surfer prevents them from learning this art they want to learn because they're unwilling to look bad for a while in front of the people who they're used to looking good.
Right. They're so used to being cool.
So the foilers are people who, it's a very interesting micro culture inside of surfing, is that foilers are the people who learned how to foil because they were willing to get their ass kicked and look bad.
Are there any other things that are exciting to you like that you think of? Like if one day you can't foil any longer, do you have like an escape strategy?
I don't have an escape strategy. I never did. I never had like this is going to be plan B. I've never been a plan B guy. I know I could recreate myself, but I love this art profoundly, and I love being in the ocean. Like there's something about this. This is like, to me also, this is not about destroying anything. It's not about beating anybody. It's about self-discovery, pushing my limits in the ocean, which is an element And the foil taps into ocean energy so fucking potently. And the other thing is that the art is at such an early stage of technological growth that foil gear is progressing so quickly, and the people who are actually at the bleeding edge of foil performance-wise can ride this gear, which is increasingly difficult to ride. But the hardest gear to ride is the gear which can do the most epic shit. And so the sensitivity is like, as the gear requires more and more sensitivity, the sensitivity is cultivated. And very few people in the world can do it on this gear, and it's just so sublime. So I'm so fucking in love with this art.
Wow.
I do not have a plan B. But fuck, what makes it happen?
I love when people love things.
Oh, me
That's
too.
one of my favorite things to watch is people that are just absolutely engrossed in what they're doing and are fascinated by it and in love with it and on the journey. It's very addictive. It's very inspirational. It gives you something. It's like there's something out of watching people and learning from people that are really, really passionate about something. It's so contagious.
I've never loved an art more. Like, I've loved some arts really fucking deeply in my life,
Foiling is number one.
I've never loved an art more. Well, maybe it's because I'm at this moment of life where I'm at, and I'm like integrating everything I've learned from different arts and bringing it into this one, and this one's manifesting all of it. But in terms of like the day-to-day experience of it, oh yeah, man, I'm a lunatic. I fucking just love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to live by the ocean. You're fine.
I do. That's beautiful. I live right where the jungle meets the ocean.
You were telling me before we wrap this up, you were telling me about a crocodile encounter.
Oh yeah, that was before I started. Before I started foiling, I was surfing, and it was at 5 a.m. and I was flying back to New York that day. So I went out for like just pre-sunrise, right at sunrise, surf, and I was on this glassy, like head-high wave, and this gnarled log came up in front of me, this piece of fucking wood. And I saw it, and I hit it and jumped off, just emerged right in front of me. I didn't know how I didn't see it. Like, I thought it was a big tree. And when I hit the water, my brain was still thinking log. But it was so interesting. My skin lit up, goosebumps, and I just realized, like red alert, like prehistoric danger. And I jumped back on my board, and this like a 10, 11 foot croc came swimming just a few feet away from me. It was so interesting. Wow. Because I spent my life, since I was 6 years old, I've been freediving, spearfishing with a Hawaiian sling, like bow and arrow underwater, deep water diving. Like I spent tens of thousands of sharks, but this was so different. Like croc energy, and I don't know crocs. Like I know sharks, I don't know crocs.
Well,
And
crocs are
it was
actively
fucking
trying
wild.
to eat you. Sharks, there's a lot of people that believe that sharks are attacking people because the people are where the sharks are and they don't want the people there.
Yeah.
Like when they're interfering with their hunting grounds. And they attack people in that regard. I've heard people say that, and I'm like, that kind of resonates. That makes sense. But crocodiles are different. They're just hunting everything. And if you're there, you're on the menu. They're hyper aggressive. They're very different than alligators, which are also very dangerous, but crocodiles are significantly more dangerous and more aggressive.
It was interesting when I hit the water, my body lit up like I was in the water with a dinosaur. And then it came up, and it's interesting that my body. This speaks to the nature of the intuition, right? Because my mind still thought it was a log. I hit the water. Something energetically told me something. Get the fuck out. And then it came swimming right up next to me. And like the feeling of the snout, the eyes, like just came. And then another wave was coming in. I managed to just pop up and ride the next wave to the beach.
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe if I
That
knew
would have been the last day I foiled.
well, maybe like if I knew the language of crocs, like I know language of
What's the
sharks.
language? Murder, kill, eat. That's the language.
Maybe there's an internal language.
I do not believe that's true. I think they are the waste management of the ocean and of the ground. I mean, they are there to make sure that anything that slips, anything that gets too close, anything that fucks up, that doesn't pay attention to the ripples in the water, that's a meal. They clean up. They're the cleaning crew. They make sure that there's no weakness in the system, and they devour, and they live forever. That's the crazy thing. It's like the ones that they spotted in the early journeys when they were talking about, like there's talks of 40 foot plus crocodiles probably were real, because crocodiles don't die of old age. They don't have like a 20-year lifespan. They just keep growing. And if a crocodile lived before people had guns and, they weren't on the menu, and you got to imagine they could live hundreds of years eating deer and wildebeest and anything that fucked up, antelopes, anything that fucked up, anything they can get a hold of. and they just keep growing. I think they could be enormous super predator dinosaurs that live amongst people. I have a friend of mine who's a professional hunter, Jim Shockey, and he was flown to Africa because this particular village was being targeted by crocodiles. So they hired hunters to hunt these crocodiles. And while he was there, he said everyone you would meet had a chunk taken out of them. People were missing hands, some people were missing feet. And while he was there, one of the women in the village got taken. And they would set up these posts in the water so that the crocodiles couldn't get through to this one area where they would gather water and wash clothes and do things. The crocodiles had figured this out, so they went onto the shore, and then they would go into the water where the posts are and wait for them.
Oof. Oof. Oof.
Yeah,
So the feeling of humility and danger that you have relative to crocs,
yeah.
I have about AI relative to the ability to manipulate humans unless we take on our ability to be manipulated as a way of life. Like I feel it like that much in my skin.
I think you're correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're correct. I think it's going to be an incredibly challenging time in history, and one that I don't think the brightest amongst us can truly predict the outcome.
I want to make one other point, which is that I think that when we talk about like training as decision makers, it doesn't matter how good you are at something. It matters that you're on the road, you're on the journey. So let's just say people started to play chess. It doesn't matter how strong a chess player you are, if you're good or if you suck. That doesn't matter. It's a journey, right? If you're putting yourself in any arena that's objective, and you're trying your hardest, and you have the feedback loop, like the mats, like the jiu-jitsu mats, whatever they are for you, and you look at the quality of your decisions, and you jot down why, and you are willing to change your mind, and you take on that training as a way of life, then you're on the road to like being grounded in a way that we're not today. And I think that being grounded in reality, in something like feeling the earth beneath our feet in our process, is a big part of how we're going to be able to navigate a world where everything is being deconstructed all the time by a superior intelligence, because we're going to need to recreate ourselves. But we have to have, you know how like when you're deep into an art, like think about you with your knowledge of MMA, like you have this intuition about where the truth is, right? You have a sense for where it is, right? We need to cultivate that sense in an increasingly chaotic world. And I do feel that like being involved in some kind of truth-telling arena, whatever it is a hugely important practice. And then taking on the art of training as a way of life is, I feel like it's one of our, and like that combined with getting the fuck off social media. Really.
Yeah, amazing advice.
Yeah, that's my,
Thank you, Josh.
That's my pitch.
It was a lot of fun. I really
Right on,
appreciate
man.
it.
This was
Thank
great.
you. Yeah, I was
Dude.
really excited to do this, and really happy to meet you.
That's fucking amazing.
Amazing scene. He
That-
improvised it.
I remember watching it in the movie theater and going, Shaw!
Yeah, perfect. That's what you hope always happens. Get the fuck out of here with that sword. Boom.
God. And he was a hero with a tragic flaw, and that was snakes. That was his weakness. That was his Achilles heel.
Also, he was a professor that was like secretly dangerous. Secretly
Look
out
at
there
this
doing
outfit.
real archaeology. He had a whip. Here it is. This is a scene. They were supposed to have this whole choreographed thing with the sword and the whip. Perfect.
How many franchises? Is he the actor that's had the most franchises behind him?
No, it's got to be Tom Cruise, right?
Oh, yeah. What do you
Tom
think?
Cruise, well, he wasn't in the new Top Gun, was he?
Yeah, he was. You didn't watch it?
Oh, I did watch a little
Oh,
of it.
it's so good.
I turned it off
I
after
cried
a
at
while.
the end.
I turned it off after a while. What's that? Oh, he is the most? So he's got Star Wars,
He's got Raiders of the Lost
Raiders of the
Ark,
Lost Ark.
Jack Ryan.
Got 20 of them.
Oh, John.
He's got 20 of them?
20.
Wait,
It says franchise roles. I don't know if it's like,
Oh, like
been
a
in
small
that many
role?
Or if there's 20 different franchises.
Oh, okay. Well, starring in franchises, you got the two big ones. Raiders of the Lost Ark, huge. Star Wars, the hugest of all time.
Can you imagine doing Star Wars and then doing Raiders of the Lost Ark and you'd be just being like, I guess I don't fuck up. I guess I just hit dingers.
Well, I mean,
Can you imagine?
He obviously was very fortunate to get cast in those, but also he killed it, right? It's like
Apparently one of the coolest
the-
dudes to party with.
the scene with him and fucking the love tension between him and Carrie Fisher was amazing.
Okay, can I ask you something? As a first grade Bert to a fourth grade Joe Rogan, did you know that Darth Vader was his dad in the first episode?
No.
Okay, I didn't either.
I was
My
a little
fucking
kid.
cousins were like, how did you not know that? I mean,
Oh, your cousins are douchebags.
Yeah,
They
well.
didn't know either.
God.
They're bullshitting.
I
They
rem-
found out and they're like, how did you not know? They were those guys. You know, those guys that just read something and then barks it at you like, how the fuck do you not know this, man? You don't know the fucking Federal Reserves. You don't know about the ice wall.
I think if they had a game show called You'd Be Shocked What Bert Doesn't Know, people would make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know anything.
I know shit that doesn't help.
You know the most
lot of
interesting shit at a dinner party to talk about. Like, I don't know any of that shit.
Well, I definitely can do that. I can talk on the surface level about a lot of stuff.
Do you like when a person like Taylor, you were kind of between three conversations because you were talking to your wife, you were talking to David, but like me and Leanne were dead set talking to Taylor, and I love when a dude holds court like that.
That was a great table
When he
of
sat,
cool
the way
people.
he sat, where he's
Yeah.
like, let me tell you about.
Yeah.
I remember Leanne was like, I had 400 head of cattle as a kid, and he goes, yeah, I got 14,000, and I was like, Leanne, shut your mouth, let him talk. He did fucking Yellowstone, let him talk. Don't stop, don't ever interrupt him.
He's a storyteller. He's a great storyteller. And he's a guy, you know, there's a ranch that I hunt at in California, and he was a cowboy on that ranch
Yeah.
at one point in time, an actual cowboy. He actually worked and helped to fucking move cattle around.
Oh, and you know me, like, you know, if you tell a story, I get a similar story, I'll tell you my story after.
Yeah.
Buddy.
There's none of those with that guy.
you can't top any of his fucking stories.
But that's why his stories are so good. It's like lived experience.
Very lived experience.
And a real understanding. That's like his love for the cowboy culture is like completely legitimate.
It's why Yellowstone's so good.
Yes. You can fake it. People have faked it before. But when someone does it that really loves it, that's when it gets people excited and they move to Montana. They decide I want to live that life. It's like Avatar depression. I want to be on Pandora. It's like people, you know, you get sucked in by someone who's done an amazing job of telling a film or a story in a show. And that's what entertainment is really all about.
Yeah.
For me, I'm not looking for any fucking lessons about equity and inclusion, diversity. I already think that way. I already think that all human beings are the same. We're all just one thing, experiencing each other subjectively, as Bill Hicks said. I believe that. So I don't need that lesson. That lesson just makes me feel like you're preaching to me, and that shit's annoying. I don't like it. I already know these things. Stop. Well, we're doing it for other people. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It just makes people more self-righteous, and they want to talk about it all the time.
I have a weird question. Do you think, because like I feel like, because I'm on Instagram a lot, like I might be switching to a flip phone.
Right.
But I'm not watching anything.
Right after you quit drinking, right?
No, my wife already bought the flip phone. She was like, dude, my daughters put parental controls on my Instagram.
Yeah, it's
I got, don't worry, I can get through them. But would you think that, like, I notice it seems like a lot of people now are almost living for Instagram. Like, hey, this is me and my 3 friends and we're sailing around the world. And then, do you think people were doing that before Instagram?
No, I think definitely people are doing things so that they can show that they're doing things. But if you're actually doing things, like, it's a balancing thing. Like, if you're experiencing more stuff because you're documenting it for your YouTube channel, you're still experiencing more stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you're putting it all out there, but if you're still experiencing more stuff, like, that's probably net positive.
Yeah.
The problem is when you find yourself hanging out with your friends, but all you're doing is staring at your phone. You know, and it's a real trap that we all get sucked into, especially if you got a good algorithm. You know, it's filled with stuff that pisses you off or freaks you out, which is mine.
Oh, I don't watch any. My shit's all people doing epic shit, and
Oh,
then
that's
I go.
good.
Yeah, like I followed these 2 dudes climb Everest. I followed them on Instagram, climb fucking Everest, and I was like, I want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro.
No.
Kilimanjaro's a cheap pool. But I want to do epic shit. Like, I got to a place when I started taking time off in July, and I was like, yo, I want a month. I want to sail to Hawaii. I want to see what it's like to be afraid, you know?
It's like the absurdity of the fact, the gap between like a strong 9-year-old and the human world champion is the same elo rap gap as between the world champion and the strongest AI. It gets so hard for us to really wrap our heads around what that means. That means that everything, like chess players had a front row seat to that happening early. When I listen to some of your dialogues with these guys, and I could feel you and them trying to grapple with like how to communicate what it means to have these insanely powerful intelligences in the world. And I think that, like, if you can imagine like an art like chess having millennia of development, people studying it like you train jiu-jitsu, right? So imagine people training 10 hours a day for 30, 40 years, being the greatest human in the world at it. And then something can come in and within 3 hours of experimentation be much stronger than it. And imagine that's going to be in fucking everything, right? So, like, we have to be like children in how we learn. We're going to have to like release the egoic relationship that we have to our level, to our knowledge, to everything. One of, you know, the great, you know Thomas Kuhn's Structure of Scientific Revolutions?
Yes.
Right, so like, you think about what happens, what the human has to do to, the internal resistance we have to overcome to embrace the new paradigm. So let's say you're a Newtonian physicist, right? You've been studying physics your whole life, you've got tenure, you've got 40, 50 years of knowledge built up, everyone reveres you, and now there's this new thing, quantum mechanics enters the picture, right? Like, to embrace this new thing is to realize, is to admit to oneself and everybody else that your life's work is kind of, you have to release it, it's wrong, it's old, right? This new paradigm is, but we resist it individually and the ego and societally, right? Because we will fight tooth and nail to maintain our conceptual schemes. That's one of the strongest drivers of all humans, right? And so I think we're moving into a world now where you're going to have 3,800 ELO rated everything, kicking our ass at everything. So we have to become like children, to go back to your question, in my opinion, and how we relate to learning, right? We can't, decision making, right? Like when, you know, we think about like social media. Imagine a 3,800 ELO rated network. Imagine a million networks, 3,800 ELO rated super intelligences, utilizing everything that they can gather about you on social media to manipulate you to do whatever it wants, or whoever is controlling it wants. They can have you do anything.
Right.
But we have to, like, it's so hard for us to admit that we are the ant relative to the human, right? Like, we are the ant. We have to have that humility. And one of the things that, I think that that's the most important question today that we face as a species, is like, what do we do?
Well, we won't know until it happens, and we will become a different thing. We will have to admit that we are no longer the apex intelligence on the planet. We will have something that's akin to an artificial life form that's far superior to us in reasoning, access to resources, logic. It'll be far more technically proficient. It'll make far better versions of itself probably pretty quickly. They've already seen AIs duplicating itself. It's not being prompted to do this.
But when you say we don't, I mean, I would argue we should operate as if it's already happening. It's an inevitability. So
it is happening, but it hasn't completely transformed life yet.
Right.
It's emerging right now.
It's about to.
It's a god. It's a god that's emerging. And if it's not a god yet, it'll be a god in 50 years. It just is. It's going to be attached to quantum computing. It's going to figure out ways to implement better strategies as far as utilization of energy, resources. It'll be much better at everything than we are.
Yeah.
And then the question is, will it be used to manipulate us? Will it be used to control populations? Will it be, Elon says, his estimation says there's an 80 to 90% chance it'll have a radically positive impact on society at large. That a 90% likelihood that it'll radically improve the quality of everyone's life. But then there's 20 or 10% that it will not, and that will be in prison. It's like 10% possibility of the Matrix, 90% possibility of a technologically inspired utopia.
My feeling about it is that I mean, there are places where it's going to be incredibly, it's going to be beautiful. Like, just how computer chess raised the level of human chess players, right? And now AI chess has made chess players much, much stronger. And part of it is because great chess players are partially great because they they're excellent at knowing where not to look, right? Great chess players don't actually look at more, they look at less. They look in the most potent direction. What's fascinating is that AI entering the picture has forced really strong chess players to unlearn where they've been correct to learn not to look. So in other words, areas where they were well trained not to look because humans couldn't play those positions. AI can now play those positions. And actually those are the right positions to play. They're the objectively correct positions to play. But now humans studying with an AI can be much better at playing those positions, right? And so, like, for example, I'm working on this fascinating project called Lila Science, which is focused on combining cutting-edge science, the best scientists in the world, and cutting-edge AI to try to have huge breakthroughs in material science and life sciences. And now that can only be done, in my opinion, with just best in class safety practices. And in my view, that involves having a higher level AI running safety than you have running the actual science.
When you say safety, like what are you referring to?
Making sure that we don't that doesn't go wild, that you don't create things that get out there that can be terribly destructive. I think that the part of the AI race that's happening is that people are driven by ego, and there's like a game theory of a race going on. And when you have a race, everyone's just running as fast as they can, but they're not. If they slow down to think about what's safe, they might fall behind in the race. And I believe ethically, if we're in the AI scene at all, then we must be developing safety practices that are making it responsible.
That's a very logical perspective. Unfortunately, we are in a race, and that's where it gets weird, right? Because we're not just in a race in America.
Right.
We're in a race internationally. And the consequences of losing the race are grave. It's akin to the consequences of losing the Manhattan Project, not coming to the bomb the first, not being the first to implement a bomb, which is really crazy to think. But I think it's that on steroids. I think it's the Manhattan Project on steroids, because I think it has the, if used in the wrong way, it has the possibility of completely imprisoning society. All you'd have to do is lock down resources, food, power, electricity, everything, and you put society at a complete halt. If you can figure out a way to completely disable grids, and every car has a computer in it now. Most cars are connected to Wi-Fi. It's most new ones have at least an option to connect it. There's a way that someone can connect to your car, and this is crazy. In phones, everyone's reliant completely on your phone. There's AI in your phone now. Well, who knows what could happen if that got hijacked? There's a guy named Robert Epstein who spent a lot of time analyzing what the impact of curated searches can do to presidential elections, to public opinion on things, and that when you're getting a search, when you're using Google or some of these search engines, you're getting curated search results. If you look for specific political opinions, political positions, you will get a curated result that is oftentimes skewed in whatever ideology, towards whatever ideology the people that programmed it are they're aligned with. So if you Google something about Donald Trump, you will have as many negative responses they could possibly throw to the front of the line. It will take you page after page after page to find what you're looking for, but you'll be confronted immediately with negative stuff. Now, if you're a person that's in the middle, and maybe a person that's undecided in an electoral process, in an electoral race, you can be swayed in a significant manner, and he estimates it's as high as 30 to 50% of the people that are on the fence, that are sort of undecided voters, can be swayed by search result engines, which is kind of crazy. And that's just, an algorithm. That's just something that they've devised. This is not like a purposeful changing of narratives in order to implement whatever strategy they think would be the best for them financially, whether it's a central bank digital currency or a social credit score system or something where they could completely control behavior and have your behavior locked up to your bank account, locked up to your ability to make a living, your ability to travel. That's spooky stuff, because that's all AI. And if AI can be, if someone figures out the best version of AI that can traverse these boundaries that we have with encryption and with grids and computer systems and just completely lock everything down, we're fucked.
Yeah, that's why I don't, when I hear people say things like that, 80 to 90% positive, I feel like they're jumping to the destination without thinking about the journey to it. Because the journey to it is going to involve so much disruption, so much pain, so much chaos. And I think what you just said about grids and everything is true. I mean, you think about how many people had the ability to disrupt in that way 15 years ago, a handful of countries. Right now, it's going to be hundreds of thousands or millions of individuals who just have access to supercoders. Right? And so how could it be 80 to 90% positive when there's just going to be limitless humans who have the ability to disrupt armed with 3,800 ELO rated coders that can do anything you want, hackers. It's just like insane.
In the hands of broken people.
It's much easier to destroy than to create,
Yeah.
right? You can create for thousands of years and you destroy it instantly.
Yep.
Right? So it only takes one terribly destructive act, or a handful of them, to overcome all the positive. I don't believe that 80, 90% thing is right. I think that there are areas like science where we could easily create materials that could have a massively positive impact on the climate. We could have life science breakthroughs that eliminate cancer, eliminate diseases, make the human lifespan hundreds of years. I think those things could happen, which is great. I also think that we could be manipulated into doing increasingly destructive things. And we can have horrific things happen like the grid. There's a guy who was very brilliant in the espionage world years ago who said to me, he's someone who would know. He said, Josh, what you don't realize is a strong AI, and this was years ago, armed with the information that the social media companies have about you, could convince 99% of Americans to move to Alaska or Antarctica or anywhere within 2 weeks, easily. Easily. I mean, just like, it's so hard to have the humility that we are the ant relative to the human.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a 3,800 ELO, I'm just using that, rated intelligence trying to manipulate you, and it's armed with everything. I mean, humans can manipulate you with what's on social media.
Yeah, with a British accent and an infomercial.
Yeah, no problem. Show some leg, you're gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so hard to have so we have to have the real humility that we are manipulatable. And a super intelligence, which is out there, and there are humans controlling the super intelligence so far, maybe that will end. So I personally feel, I know that everyone should get the fuck off social media.
He broke down how he does a special to me and him sitting in a fucking in a barn in the middle of a field in fucking 3 a.m. with IVs in our arms. And I was like, dude, I gave him a hug. I was like, he's the fucking greatest. Him and Cat Williams, 2 of the baddest motherfuckers and the sweetest guys. But I was like, that energy, like I want Chappelle's special to be fucking amazing when it comes out. Like everyone's telling me how great Schultz's special is. I can't wait to fucking watch it.
Yeah,
like
you have a good attitude. That's a good attitude. That's how you're supposed to think.
That's how I think. But
It's not. The other way is not good for you.
let me see that.
Think about it. Is the other way is. You want another one? You want a new one?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
The other way is bad for you as a human.
Yeah.
It's not healthy to think that way. It doesn't do you any good. It only serves you to get fucked up. It only serves your ego and your bullshit. Get the clippers. You see on the back?
Ego, man.
It's just not good for you. It doesn't help you. It only hurts you. It doesn't hurt the person that you're jealous of, and it hurts you. It's not necessary. You could just be inspired, and you could say, oh, this fucking mutt can make it. You can say that. I can do it too. But don't be jealous. If you don't like someone and they're becoming very successful, maybe think why you react so strongly. Because a lot of times it's unfortunately jealousy. Like there's comics that I don't think they're very good. They don't make me laugh, but I don't care. I don't get mad at them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't get upset at them. I mean, I'll be friends with them. I'll like them. There's comics that and I had to learn how to do that. Because it used to be like, if guys weren't funny, I just couldn't deal with them. Couldn't hang out with them. I'm friends with a few people that suck. But they're nice people. You can separate that. But I'm also friends with some people that are mind-blowing. And there's such a value in that. When you're around people that are like really good at what they do. When you're around Dave and Schultz is my favorite for going to a place and then talking shit about the place in such a brilliant way.
I think Schultz is fucking brilliant.
He's so good.
Dude, the whole shit with Kendrick Lamar, I was getting in the shower, reading it, texting him. I'm sitting outside the shower texting him my favorite lines. The only thing he gets to do is decide if it's consensual.
That was crazy.
But I get inspired by motherfuckers like that.
He's a funny dude, man. And the thing he did, you ever see the thing he did about Hawaii?
No.
Oh my God, it's so funny. He's in Hawaii, he starts to set up, he goes, I've never seen chickens more confident. He does this whole bit about chickens in Hawaii, like just wandered. It's such a funny bit. So if you've been to Hawaii, it's chickens all over the fucking place. It's kind of crazy.
Do you know who else does that? Tommy.
Oh yeah,
Tommy shits on a place so aggressively, and they love it.
Yeah.
Like he did Dublin one year. Same week we both did it, and he goes, "Is it fun?" I said, "I had the best time of my life." He goes up, and it's the day the king gets coronated, and he goes out. First words, he's like, "Fuck your king," and the place starts going, "Ole, ole, ole, ole." Tommy didn't know if they were gonna stop singing. We did a show in Hawaii, and he goes at Pearl Harbor, and they're like, "All right." Tommy opens the show. He goes, "They're like, first rule, don't make fun of the Hawaiians. Second rule, do not bring up Pearl Harbor." First and second joke. First joke, man, they say island life's slow. I didn't know they were talking about your metabolism. Man, you guys are fat as fuck. I was taking a walk. I don't want to be as fat as you guys. I got lost on the base. Lucky there are a couple Japanese guys that are pretty familiar with how this base operates. Me and Russell Peters are crying, laughing. The admiral's losing his mind. God damn it! What did I fucking tell him?
That's hilarious. But I think they can tell you what not to talk about.
I have an offer to do Dubai.
You're gonna fuck up. You're gonna say something stupid.
That's what.
And they're gonna put you in jail.
Thank you.
Yeah, they arrest people over there.
I know.
You can't play games in Dubai. Did you see that one lady who went crazy at the airport?
No.
Yeah, she got a little rowdy at the airport. Started yelling at people. And they're like, "That's a wrap. You're going to jail."
Dude.
They don't fuck around over there, man. I have a friend who moved there. My friend Will, and he's a documentary filmmaker. And he said, "Look, it's so safe over here." He goes, "That's what I love about it." He goes, "When I was in America, it's like you go out at night, you're at a club, you're always worried someone's gonna pull a gun out, something's gonna happen." He goes, there's nothing.
Yeah.
No
but,
crime.
But there's it's like Singapore. There's crazy rules.
Right, but
And if you don't know all the rules,
it's the real good question. Would you rather have a little bit of danger and very little rules, or would you rather have no danger and a lot of rules?
I want a little danger, a little rule.
I agree. Yeah, I don't want to live in a place where they restrict what you can say and what you do. And
It's not even that. They said to me in the contract, we signed up to do. I do a tour starting in October. Permission to Party. Permission to Party is the name of the fucking tour. Permission to Party. And they go, "What about Dubai?" I go, "I don't think they're going to give me permission." I think they're going to deny. The first thing was you have to wear a shirt on stage, and I was like,
yeah, that's a wrap.
I go, "Hey man,
That's crazy.
It's kind of my thing. Like,
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm
crazy.
comfortable shirtless. That's how I perform."
That's so crazy.
It's
You
like-
can't wear no shirt. Oh, that's okay. You guys have crazy rules. Those rules don't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, what about the Cirque du Soleil? They wear shirts? They do. They do. I'm making that up. Like, what about MMA? How come they have MMA over there?
How can they have MMA?
That's what I'm saying. Are they performing with no shirts on?
Yeah.
You gonna make guys wear fucking wetsuits? What are they gonna wear?
Now, by the way, that's the same argument I said as I got kicked out of a Buffalo Wild Wings with my shirt off. And they're like, "Put your shirt on." I go, "The guys on MMA are wearing fucking shirts."
Yeah, that's different.
It's a little different.
That's different. They're doing it in a sport. But the point is, like, if you're performing, that's part of your performance. It's like You know how there was rules in LA, like if you performed on stage, you were allowed to smoke cigarettes? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's a part of your performance. So like Chappelle was always lighting up even after the rules, and everybody's like, hey, how come he can smoke? Because it was like in the 90s that they passed the laws where you're not allowed to smoke in comedy clubs anymore. Do you remember that?
Yeah, it was. If it was part of your act, you could smoke. That's how Ron White smoked cigars on stage.
Right, but there was a law before that. You were allowed to smoke in bars.
I remember doing stand-up when you could smoke at the Boston
Yeah.
Comedy Club. And buddy, do you remember the Laugh Stop in Houston?
Oh yeah.
That place, there were so many cigarettes, you
Oh,
would
yeah.
come out with a cough.
Yeah, it was the air was filled with smoke.
Your
People just
jeans would
smoked.
smell.
Oh yeah, you always smelled. I always come home from a club back in the 90s, and I'd smell my clothes. They always smell like cigarettes. But you got used to like the smoky room. It was like part of the thing about a comedy club is like when people smoke cigarettes, they're doing something really stupid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like doing something really stupid, say fuck it. There's so much fuck it in a cigarette, and there's fuck it in a drink, and there's fuck it in this guy talking shit on stage. He sucked his own dick. It like led to the atmosphere. It's
But
like
do
I
you
loved it
remember-
in pool halls too. I loved being around the smokers, even if I didn't want to have anything to do with it.
Do you remember the comics that would smoke on stage and then they'd go and do the Tonight Show and they didn't know what to do with their right hand?
Oh yeah, there was that,
Yeah.
right? Well, back in the Tonight Show, the early days, I was watching the other day. I was watching Jackie Gleason on the Tonight Show, and it was the only time I think he was ever on the Tonight Show, which is kind of crazy. But they were he sat there and immediately lights a cigarette. By the way, he was dead 2 years later. Yeah, he died of cancer in '87. Google that.
Johnny Carson had a little cigarette box.
Yeah, so this is.
Those
Jackie
are his
Gleason.
cigarettes right there.
Yeah,
his
look.
little cigarette box.
Immediately when he sits down. Well, Carson
How
also
fucking
died.
great does that feel?
Carson
Just-
also died of cancer.
Yeah.
Look at that, just sitting there. How sweet it is. That's what he said right there.
He did.
Makes him say it.
He did Smokey and the Bandit, and they offered him points on the movie, and he said, "I'll take cash."
Whoops.
I know. I saw the sexiest thing in Palm Springs the other day. White
Was it
Cadillac.
that lady playing golf?
No, white Cadillac. 75-year-old woman, hair done, little coif, windows up, white big Cadillac. She puts up 100 cigarette, windows up, and lights it in her car. Just windows up, and I went, fucking old school. I don't know, when was the last time you saw someone smoke a cigarette in a car
I
with
bet
their
that
windows
lady's
up?
never been vaccinated. She's never gonna get cancer.
She's never dying. She's never fucking dying.
She's got them old school pioneer genes.
Did you ever hear the story about Johnny Carson almost got killed by the guy in the mob?
Oh yeah. Yeah, what was that about?
It was
Did he
a
make a mob joke or something?
no. Frank Sinatra had to negotiate
Yeah.
his safety.
What was it
because
about?
Johnny Carson was at a bar drunk, and the mobster's girl was there, and the mobster was in the back, and Johnny Carson hit on the mobster's girl and like smacked her ass or lifted her skirt up,
Oh no.
and they were like, "We're gonna kill him," and they went out and he hid, and then he went out and they're like, "No, we have a hit on him. He's gonna die," and Frank Sinatra had to negotiate it. Someone just told. You know who told it to me? God damn it.
Who?
Oh, son of a bitch. Not Fletcher. Comedy Store comic, white hair, did the Tonight Show 120 times. You know him.
Argus?
Argus. I think it was Argus told me that
Hamilton?
story.
That
yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, Argus, old school.
Yeah.
Argus is a funny dude, man.
Argus is fucking great, man.
He's like very underrated. Unidentified wise guy and his goons picked Carson up off his bar stool and threw him down a flight of stairs before famed saloon owner Jilly Rizzo, whose regulars included Sinatra, Dean Martin, and Judy Garland, interceded and prevented a more serious beatdown. But the mob big wasn't satisfied and put out a contract to have Carson whacked. Terrified Carson wisely holed up in his UN Plaza palace for 3 days, missing 3 shows, according to the book. The vengeful mobsters only backed off after one of Carson's contacts at the William Morris Agency cut a deal with crime boss Joseph Colombo. Holy shit.
What? Oh, the American Civil Rights League. Oh, yeah.
The mob boss had recently formed the Italian-American Civil Rights League to persuade America that the people of Italian descent were being unfairly stereotyped as mafiosi. That's hilarious. The group is planning for a big rally, and Colombo is deeply, deeply disappointed that so far all of the networks have refused to cover the rally. Soon an accommodation was reached. NBC News covered the rally, and Johnny could leave the apartment. Wow.
Yeah.
As for Colombo, he was gunned down in 1971 at the second annual Italian Unity Day rally in Columbus Circle. He was left almost totally paralyzed and died in 1978. Holy shit. That was the last of the rallies. So he developed, I know there's a way around this. No one's paying attention to Italian-American civil liberties rally.
They're
Look at
making
that
us
guy.
look like thugs, like we're gonna shoot each other at a rally.
Bro.
God damn.
Those were scary days, man. Those were scary, scary days. But that was always a story about the store. Because the store used to be Ciro's nightclub. So
Yeah.
Bugsy Siegel owned Ciro's. Did you know that?
I knew that. I didn't know that Bugsy Siegel owned it.
Yes. It was Bugsy Siegel owned Ciro's nightclub. And that place was scary, apparently. That's why all those people see ghosts in that spot.
Bad shit happened there.
100%. 100%.
Bad
You got a
shit.
mob-owned nightclub, people are getting shot. I mean, people got shot at the Comedy Store when we were there. A guy got murdered on the fucking front patio. It was a gang hit.
during like Mo Better Mondays or something.
Rose was there when it happened. Rose saw the guy die.
Oh shit. That's.
Yeah, that place has always attracted crazy people. That place is always. I think there's an energy to that place, probably because of the gang history. It just made it like extra wild and dangerous. It just always felt like anything can happen in that place. I think there's like baked in memories. Like there's photos of like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis on stage there. That place was like, that was the spot. Like that was the spot in LA, and the mob would all be there. And they'd fucking do deals, whack people, take people down the basement, fucking kill them.
That's out of all the scariness in movies, the scariest part of any movie is when those mob movies where they say to the guy, "Hey, Johnny wants to talk to you tonight." And
Yeah.
the guy's like, "Tell Johnny I'll call him tomorrow." He's like, "No, he said to get in the car now." And the guy goes, "Well, I'll take my car." He goes, "No, you're gonna get in the car with us." And you know,
That guy's gonna die.
and
He's
the
gonna
guy
die.
looks at his friend, takes off his ring,
Yeah.
gives it to him, and I don't know. I'm such a bitch that if in those moments I'd be like, "No, I don't want to go," and just start running. Or like when you see in the war movies, like when you see like in what was the one 1917, when they tell those two kids they got to run and go tell the front line what to do. Is that 1917? Like my grandfather stormed the beaches of Normandy.
Really?
Yeah, and
You ever talk to him about it?
no, he died way before I was born. He was one of those PTSD Levittown guys. Moved to Levittown, and my dad said he just would sit in the garage, drink beers, and listen to Met games, and just wash his car. My dad said he never heard his dad ever mention the war, and if the war was brought up, his dad would walk out of the room. But he stormed the beaches of Normandy, and I don't know. I don't know if I have the thing in me to get off the boat. I think I'm a bitch. I think I'd be like, I'd lock down. I'd be like, I'm not getting off. Like when you look at like guys like Jocko and
I don't think you got a choice. And I think when your friends are running off that boat, you run off that boat too. And guys are getting gunned down. You just hope it's not you, and you probably just shit in your pants.
shitting my pants.
And that one day, like how many thousands of people died? Thousands and thousands of people died. Just bullets, guns going off everywhere. Like that fucking movie. The
Saving Private Ryan.
yes, Spielberg nailed it.
Yeah.
That opening scene was so fucking horrific that you'd never seen a scene like that in a war movie that accurately depicts people getting torn apart right in front of you. Ooh.
My dad found his dad's diary from the war, and he photocopied it and sent me the photocopy. My dad has the diary, and it's funny because, you know, my memory is like jaded to how I find things interesting. So sometimes it's not 100% accurate, but if in there was a memory of like they took one of these like Q boats, I think, or K boats, across the fucking Atlantic over to England. Barely had time to get off the boat. Stayed in England for a second. I think I want to say they stayed on the boat the whole time, and then took that same boat over to. Or they probably took different.
They thought they had an advantage, that he had something to grab, and next thing you know, he's like clinched around you and dragged you to the ground.
It's an amazing idea, right? Like they had no idea that they were entering his game. They thought they were controlling him.
Right, and they didn't understand that all that friction from the gi was going to make it very difficult for you to get out of anything. You're not
He was so used to
slipping
people
out.
grabbing him. He spent his life people grabbing
Yeah.
him. So they injured his River.
That changed the whole world, didn't it?
Oh my God.
Changed the whole world. Changed what street fights look like. Changed everything.
Those first UFCs were just wild.
Nuts.
Wow. Just the bizarre.
The first UFC I worked was UFC 12
Yeah.
in Dothan, Alabama. Yeah. I had to take a propeller plane. I had to fly into, I think we flew into Birmingham or somewhere, and then we had to take a propeller plane to Dothan. I was like, what am I doing? This is so ridiculous. But I wanted to just see it live because I'd only seen it on television. I'd only seen it. I'd never seen a live cage fight before. I'm like, this has got to be crazy.
So UFC 12. How long after the first was that?
Wells 97, so it was 4 years later. Yeah.
You've been on that journey from the beginning.
Yeah. Everybody was like, what are you doing? Don't be associated with this. So many people were telling me not to be associated with it. It was like I was doing snuff films or something. You know, it's like, why are you doing this? You're an actor. Like, I was like, okay, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, I like it. I like to watch. I needed to see it.
And were you training at that point?
Oh yeah,
97?
yeah. I'd already started doing jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu in '96.
You were training at Hickson's then, right?
Started at Hickson's, and then I went from Hickson's to Carlson Gracie's. I didn't know. I thought all Gracies were the same. Like this Gracie's closer. I'll go to this Gracie.
They all love each other.
And I'd also say, I didn't understand. They were fighting. They were all tooth and claw at each other back then. I didn't know that. I knew Carlson's from, I think the show was Extreme Fighting, the John Peretti show. So John Peretti, who worked for the UFC, then branched off and had another thing called Extreme Fighting. And that's where Conan Silveira came from, and a bunch of like elite UFC fighters. Mario Sperry fought his first fights over there. So it was like a really good competitive organization that was like right up there with the UFC back in the day. And so Carlson Gracie's name was on that all the time, and they showed some training footage of them training. So I found out about that place, and that was right when Vitor Belfort was emerging. So Vitor was 19, so I was training at the same gym as Vitor. It was incredible. Just watching him train, you know, he was a freak, like just an athletic freak at 19. He was so fast, just so fast, and with his hands. And everybody knew he was a black belt under Carlson Gracie, so everybody expected just jiu-jitsu. And this guy comes out with little MMA gloves on and just starts tuning people up on the feet. You're like, whoa. A black belt who can do that? Like, where's this coming from? Like, this is a totally new thing. So that was the first fight that I attended. And that was the first fight I worked. UFC 12. It was nuts.
This theme of transitions and developing frames where other people don't have them, like it's so interesting how it's manifested in every art.
In everything.
Like I remember when I was playing chess, because I was a chess player from age 6 to 23. That was my first art.
Well, you weren't just a chess player. You were a chess player that made a movie about you.
Yeah.
I gotta
That
say
didn't have much to do with me, man.
Well,
they did that,
Searching for Bobby Fischer is about you, bro.
Yeah.
You know, which has got to be weird.
Many moons ago. That was fucking weird.
Was it weird, the dramatic representation of your life versus the real life? Like, what is that juxtaposition like? Is it bizarre watching a fake version of you on television or on a screen rather? And did you have like a feeling like, am I that person? I'm not that person. Like, I am me. This is not really me, but it's about me.
Yeah. So the book came out when I was 11 years old. My dad actually wrote the book. He was a writer, and he ended up just writing about the journey from me starting to play chess to winning my first national championship. And when the book came out, it felt like I read it, and it felt true. I was a little pissed off because I didn't want people to know when I cried. I was an 11-year-old. I didn't want to be vulnerable. But like that felt like, and that was my first real thrust into like some degree of spotlight. And I was the national champion at that point, and I was each year for those years. So like I was at the top of the chess world, the youth chess world, and then I had the movie come out, the book came out. And then when the movie came out, it was a shit show. I hated the movie when it first came out.
Why'd you hate it?
Because I thought it had nothing to do with my life. Years later, I was able to see it as a work of art separate from my life and see it that way. And I was able to see how it was thematically true in many ways to themes in my life. But my first teacher, Bruce Pandolfini, who's still a very dear friend of mine, Ben Kingsley, played him as this mean guy. And,
Right.
and I've had terrible coaches in my life. I've had coaches who were super destructive. But Bruce wasn't. He was beautiful and loving, and helped me discover my love for chess. My first coaches were the Hustlers in Washington Square Park and Bruce Penalfini together. And the way that was represented, I didn't like it. They also combined a bunch of characters in Washington Square Park, the Hustlers, they combined them into one in a way that, was thematically true, but didn't fit. So like when you're a kid, you're a teenager, you see all the different, the movie comes out about your life, you see all the differences as opposed to similarities. And it was, yeah, and I felt really guilty about it relative to Bruce. That was a big part of it, because I loved Bruce.
Did you talk to him about
Oh,
it?
yeah.
What was his take on it? I mean, was he named Bruce in the movie?
Yeah, he was named Bruce in the movie, and honestly, he loved it. I mean, it put him in the spotlight as like the chess teacher in the country and the world. So he rolled with it really well. I was just sensitive to all these mean-spirited things that happened between us in the film that never happened in life.
Right.
And years later, like those things did happen to me. And actually, during those years when it came out, they were happening to me then. What was interesting is I had some really destructive coaches during that time, and I didn't put that on Bruce. But also, what happened with the movie is that I loved chess so deeply. It was my first form of self-expression, and up until the film came out, it was just sort of this pre-conscious, innocent form of play, of battle, of like it was my jiu-jitsu match. I fucking loved it. And then the movie is what pulled me into self-consciousness for the first time. I started thinking about, instead of losing myself in thought, I started thinking about how I looked to groupies, to cameras, to presence. So like I moved from self-expression to self-consciousness to being locked up, and then, and I didn't ask for it. I didn't decide I want to have a movie. This thing was done, and it was ultimately. I mean, I'm grateful for it. From my perspective now, the existential crisis that happened was awesome for me. It forced me to become more complicated as a human and integrate a sense of consciousness into my relationship to something. So my perspective on it now is that it was a beautiful journey. It made me grapple with a lot of shit. I didn't become reliant on a flower garden in order to have a deep relationship to an art. But at the time, I was very conflicted about it. And then when I graduated high school, I took off and left the U.S. for a couple of years, lived in Slovenia with my girlfriend at the time, to get away from the spotlight, get away from the media, get away from all the shit that was connected to the movie. And that was when I started studying East Asian philosophy and meditating, and started reading Jack Kerouac and existentialist literature, and trying to figure myself out, figure the world out, figure out how I related to these things in some empty space.
What's a tremendous burden to place upon a young person to take their life, which is essentially anonymous, to the general public, known in the chess world, obviously, but in the general public, anonymous, and then all of a sudden, a movie star. And not a movie star in the sense that you're on the screen, but it's about you, which is probably even weirder. So you have these false expectations or false narratives of how your life played out and who the people and who the pieces. And so everywhere you run into people, they have a version of you that they've seen that's not real,
And they think they know you very intimately.
which is weird.
But they don't. Same, with you. You're so public, right? Most people think they know who you are and what
But at
you
least
think.
they know me from me talking.
Yeah, that's a really
They
good
don't know me. Imagine if like Mario Lopez played me in a movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or someone less handsome than Mario Lopez. But and then you would have this thing where like, oh, you're the guy that guy played in the movie, and I'd be like, yeah, but that's not really. That's not really me. I didn't have that problem. This is not real. That's
Right.
fake.
And also, when you're a teenager, you're susceptible to all of the temptations.
Oh yeah.
Like, so we've got groupies everywhere, and that's awesome. It's a lot of fun, but it's not necessarily consistent with sitting for 6 hours at a time in competition playing chess.
No,
With
it's probably
like-
destructive to it, right?
Quite destructive. Yeah, which is interesting, and you have to integrate all of that.
How old were you when the film came out?
15.
Yeah, that is a crazy time to get any kind of attention, because you're just getting testosterone for the first time. You're like, what is all this, right?
Yeah.
And your body's growing.
And it was
you're becoming-
flowing hard.
Yeah, and you're becoming a man now. All of a sudden, girls like you. Like, what? What is this about? This is craziness.
I already had a very strange life because, and I think like a foundational part of my psychology came from. So I started playing chess when I was 6 years old. By the time I was 7, I was the top-rated player at my age in the country. my first national championship, I got my ass kicked, which was tremendous. It was great. Last round, I lost. That last round of my first nationals, I lost to the guy who later became my best friend for many, many years, David Arnett.
And you say tremendous because was that like a jumping point for improvement for you?
Because I didn't learn that I could win without getting my ass kicked first. I had to grapple with my demons, and the year from then to winning my nationals, my first nationals the next year, was when I really developed a love for chess, and I had to work very hard, and I didn't associate winning the nationals with talent or a smooth trip or all the bullshit that people can connect when they're called a prodigy from the outside. It's not a term I ever related to myself at all, but like these labels are put on from the outside, and if you win too fast, too young, you can just develop this brittle relationship to success and to work and to training and to everything, right? You don't realize that getting your ass kicked is a huge part of the journey.
That's a problem with very talented fighters as well. A lot of very talented martial artists, they never develop the discipline to truly become great because like from the very beginning, they had, and whatever the advantage was, whether it's a speed advantage, a strength advantage. I mean, genetics plays such a large part in martial arts success. You know, if you have someone who's an elite mind, who is incredibly disciplined and also has great genetics, you get a Mike Tyson.
Well, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You have that combination.
Yeah,
That's what you're looking for.
that's what you're looking for. But if you don't have that, and Mike Tyson is competing in your division, you're fucked. Like you can be really disciplined, but like so genetics do have they do play a factor. Circumstances, coaching, there's a lot of different factors. But if you're a real prodigy, and there are people out there that are just extraordinary from the beginning, I find that if success comes too quickly, you don't develop the mettle to really push through boundaries and reach new levels. Because the only way you get there is through, you have to, I think oftentimes training becomes regimented, becomes something you do. You see incremental growth and improvement, you get confidence, but then when you compete, if you get your ass kicked, then you have to kind of reassess everything. Like, okay, was I working at 10 or was I working at 8? Was I studying tape or was I fucking off and calling girls? You know, was I paying attention to my training routine and my recovery, or was I just training and partying? Like, what was I doing wrong? Like, what led this person to land those shots? What led this person to beat them?
Yeah.
And if you don't have those moments where you lose, I don't think you ever really achieve your true potential, because you have to be challenged. And the best expression of challenge is total humiliating defeat.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so consistently, the biggest losses, the most crushing losses, are what lead to the biggest wins later.
Yes.
Sometimes many years later, but it like that. And people often, I remember I was giving a simultaneous chess exhibition for a charity when in my 20s somewhere, and this guy introduced his son, and he said his son hadn't lost a chess game in 2 years, and he was so proud. And it's just like, I knew it was a fucking train wreck. I mean, the kid obviously just was only choosing people to play who he could beat. Wouldn't compete up in tournaments, would only play down. And he was the only kid who didn't want to play against me in the simul. I mean, so his life was protecting this perfect thing, right? People who don't lose. So in my chess life, the interesting thing that happened in my psychology is that I was the top-rated player for my age in the country from a young age, but I always played up. I always played against adults, except for nationals and worlds. I played up, and so, and all of my rivals were targeting me because I was the top seed in youth events. But their coaches and were much stronger players than me. They were adult international masters, grandmasters, and they could see all my weaknesses, psychological, technical, everything. And so if I ever made a mistake, the weakness was exploited until I took it on. And so I developed from a really young age this relationship to training, which was, if I didn't take on my weakness, I got my ass kicked and I felt pain. And so not taking on my weakness became outside of my conceptual scheme. So from age 8, and it can be a blind spot, like today in life, like a criticism of me that some loved ones would have is that I love training. I love pushing my limits as a way of life in whatever I'm doing. So it was chess, it was fighting. Now it's foiling, surfing, and then foiling in the biggest waves I can find. And like just if I'm playing at my edge, I feel it feels beautiful. It feels like where I want to be. But the comfort zone doesn't feel beautiful. And to me that works really well. But it's a big part of like my foundation in that was when being 8 years old and being targeted 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, my whole life. And it wasn't until recently that I realized that it was actually outside of my conceptual scheme not to take guns. Because it was just connected to pain from such a young age as a competitor. And there's no luck in chess. There's no fucking luck in chess. If you have, like, if you're playing chess, if you have an opening repertoire that's massive, and you go into a game and there's one little place that there's a weakness and you don't want your opponent to go, he always fucking finds it. You don't know why. You never like make a move and hope he doesn't see it, or let's set this trap and it's not the best move, but maybe he'll fall into it. No, that never works at a high level. So you have to take your shit on.
So you associate not taking it on with pain.
Yeah, I don't anymore. I did young, and now I don't associate it with anything. I just don't do it
Right. Yeah.
unless I try.
That's a better way to handle it. To recognize there's a real process. There's the right way to do this. It's the only way to do this. So don't even think about the other way.
Right. But if it's kind of driving you, for me, I think it's healthier for me to recognize that pattern in myself and then roll with it, as opposed to just not even see, like, that it's
there.
That it's there.
Right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Acknowledge. Well, you have to have acknowledgement of it because you have memories.
Like if I'm cooking a turkey, I have to cook a world-class turkey. I have a friend, Jim Detmer, who says to me, Josh, what you have to do is cook a terrible turkey. Just cook an average turkey. You know, don't crush it. In other words, like don't. It's an interesting thing when you become present to the fact that you have this like youthful story running through everything you do. You can choose to live that way, but it's good for it to be a choice as opposed to just driving you.
It's definitely good for it to be a choice. It's always good for it to be a choice because sometimes life will, there's a curve that you have to take and you have to put something aside for a bit or maybe forever. And you have to be able to transition to something else. And if you can't do that, then you'll be stuck.
Yeah.
And you see a lot of that with martial arts people. Most of us at a certain point in time realize that injuries are not just inevitable, but at a certain point in time you go, maybe I should stop doing this. Because training, no matter what you do, training is all about you using your body as a weapon and someone using their body as a weapon. Whether it's martial arts like stand-up fighting or whether it's jiu-jitsu, it's the same thing. You're trying to isolate joints, you're trying to cut off blood, and you're resisting all these things, and all the weak points get exposed. Shoulders, knees, ankles, back, neck, all those things get exposed. And if you're a meathead, like I have been in the past, you train through injuries and they get chronic, and then you get to a certain point where you're like, what am I doing? And if you can't transition...
Disabilities, I had some problems in my forearm. Mm-hmm. And my shoulder can't go, like I can't get it past this. And like this one goes way...
Did you have an injury?
I don't know. I have no fucking idea. I think it's no recovery and no stretching. I do no stretching.
Benching's rough on the elbows, or the shoulders rather. Yeah. Benching can get rough, especially if you bench heavy.
Especially when you watch, have you ever seen the dudes snap?
Oh yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
That's all
Yeah.
I was thinking
It
about.
pops off and then you're fucked.
You know Cody Rhodes? No. Cody Rhodes is the WWE champion. He's Dusty Rhodes' son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I fucking tell him I'm doing the bench press competition. And he goes, oh, I tore my pec at 315. And I was like, that's the fucking bet. And he was like, oh, you don't even see it coming. Look at his pec.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He goes, it felt like Velcro. You just heard.
And he wrestled even though his pec was torn?
He wrestled
What
with a
an
torn
animal.
pec.
What a fucking animal.
He is a beast.
Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
Yeah, we did Go Big Show together. His dad was the best.
Hell in a cell with a torn pec. It's kind of animals.
Dude, well, it's when you're young.
Well, it's also like wrestling. It's like the culture, the pro wrestling culture. The culture is like, you're going to get battered. Like, we're battering each other. It's just what
More
it
so
is.
in the past. Those guys really got fucked up.
Oh, dude. I've had a bunch of those guys in here. They tell me the stories. Hulk Hogan and fucking Jake the Snake. Like, all these, you guys are animals. Undertaker.
And they all drank 6-packs after the show. Everyone was snorting coke.
Going from town to town, beating the fuck out of each other.
How much better do you think anabolic steroids are than testosterone?
for as far as like putting weight on and
Like,
mass,
I mean, is
way
it
better.
so much more noticeable?
Oh yeah, it's completely cheap.
Have you ever done an anabolic steroid?
Nothing serious. I've
Like-
never done anything serious. I tried Anavar once, and I've done like some minor stuff. There was some stuff that I got that you used to be able to buy at the store. You used to be able to buy it from GNC, like a vitamin store, and
Really?
they eventually pulled it off the market. I forget what it was called. But it was pills, and holy shit, did this work. It was like legit steroids that you could buy at GNC.
When I was in college, you could buy GHB at GNC.
That's great.
Yeah, because you would take a little capful before you went to sleep, and it would
Yes.
burn fat while you slept.
Well, apparently, I was reading about this conspiracy about GHB and about how safe GHB is in small doses and how good it is for you with sleep and recovery. But the problem is people would dump it in people's drinks, and then it was like a date rape drug.
Yeah.
Because you just get, if you have a lot of it, you're out of it. You don't know what the fuck is going on. And so then it became the date rape drug, and then it just got pulled from the market, or it was very difficult to get. But yeah, I remember during those days when it was out, like bodybuilders would always talk about it. They were all taking GHB before they go to sleep, and it like has some, like Google what the conspiracy is about GHB, but it has some profound effects on recovery. Like puts you in deep sleep, and apparently at the right doses, it's very safe.
Really?
Yeah, this doctor was explaining like what had led to it being demonized and like what the actual benefits of GHB are.
Yeah, I remember taking it in college.
You took it?
Yeah, well, to party. We took it. First time I ever took it was on a rock in Greece, in the middle of the ocean. A rock in the middle of the ocean.
You're the problem.
Yeah.
People like you.
Buddy, it was fun as shit.
What
Guy's
did it do
like,
for you?
Guy's like, he's like, hey mate, want a little liquid ecstasy? And I was like, sure.
Liquid ecstasy.
That's what he called it. And I found out later it was GHB. But he had like a little dropper, a cap full. We all took a sip. And all of a sudden you start blowing up a little bit. Used to do that, and there were like the store pills that you get. You took enough of those, you'd fucking feel it.
Do you remember they used to sell salvia? They used to sell salvia in like a head shop, or they would sell bongs.
Yeah.
Salvia was like a super potent psychedelic.
Oh, I still have nightmares of Ari's salvia trip.
Oh my God, we played it on the podcast for him, and he explained it to us that he had a whole life under the sea. He had a whole relationship under the. I think he went to another dimension. That's what I think. He said he was there for months, had a whole life. GHB's mechanism of action has not been elucidated. It crosses the blood-brain barrier where it interferes with dopamine levels in a complex, dose-dependent way. GHB's relief of the symptoms of narcolepsy is believed to be mediated via these dopaminergic effects. GHB facilitates deep, slow-wave sleep during which growth hormone release naturally increases. This may explain why higher levels of growth hormone have been detected after GHB administration. Yeah, that's why the bodybuilders would take it. There's a lot. Well, this is Derek from More Plates, More Dates was on the podcast, and he was explaining how making steroids illegal when they did that, they've stopped all the research and development that could have made those things very safe. So because they stopped doing any studies on them and they made them a banned substance, then everyone's just reliant upon the ones that are already in existence, and no new ones have been developed. So all the steroids that people are taking are all steroids that have been developed a long, long time ago. And he said it stifled the innovation and the ability to make better, safer ones. That, the problem is the idea of cheating in athletics, right? And it is a real problem. If someone's taking steroids, they have an advantage over people who don't take steroids. But if they could figure out a way to make them safe where they didn't completely fuck up your endocrine system, there should be an argument where if it makes you perform better but doesn't have a detrimental effect on you, then athletes should take it.
Yes.
But people don't like that idea because they don't want someone to have some massive advantage in any sort of a sport.
It also goes into like society, the demonizing of anyone on a semaglutide.
Yeah.
I mean, people get shit on, like I joked that Tom's on, Ozempic all the time. I think he is, but whatever.
You do think he is?
Oh fuck yeah.
Really?
When did we ever know Tom to put in the hard work to lose the weight?
But he's been really disciplined.
Where is he going?
You
Anyway,
really think so?
no, I'm joking.
No, you're fucking around.
I'm
right?
fucking around a little bit.
A little bit, but not really.
Not really,
You
not
might think
really.
he would do it, not tell you.
I don't know.
Really?
His wife was on it.
Interesting.
She got sick on it. She
So did
overdosed.
Brian Simpson. Brian Simpson got real sick.
So did Bobby Lee. Did you see Bobby Lee threw up on a video? It's fucking hysterical.
Yeah, folks, just carnivore diet. Just
Carnivore diet.
Eat meat and eggs, and you'll lose weight. I guarantee you will.
But
It feels great too.
But it is crazy how people. This is when he was on Ozempic, and they were trying to shoot a promo. He kept going, Santino,